Hold up 1 second. I just had to change out something. Alright, 1 second here. Go change that live thing here in a second. Have to update the live stream. There, 1 second. And there we go. So now we are live. Just one, we gotta promote this thing, or promote, but pin it, and then do that, and we are ready. Okay. So we are ready. Graham, welcome in. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I accidentally went live just a second ago. There, that was a mistake. I was like, oh, I'm ready to go live, and then I looked at my screen, and I remember, and I just looked at it, and I was like, oh yeah, I haven't pulled up any of the live streams. So if you excuse that thing, I went live before. It's an accident. Accidents happens. We're all humans here, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. Please. Thank you. There we are. Alright, so we are live here. Do the last little tweaking here, and we are live. Alright. Well, we've got some news for you. I managed to put together some things, but that's all that really happened, and we're going to move on to Twitter probably, or something like that. We can get to all kinds of things in a second here. Let's get to the most important thing here that you guys might want to see about. It's a factor. Well, we'll actually get to that in a second here, but 30 days into the war, Hamas is still firing on central Israel. It means that these guys, right? It's like Russia still firing on Ukraine, still firing long-range missiles at Ukraine. But the difference here is, you know, Russia is not completely surrounded by soldiers and deprived of any kinds of things, of humanitarian means. I mean, these guys are. But still, they find ways to... No, super quick. Oh my god. Oh yeah, it was... Yeah, I don't know. Vaughn, welcome in, welcome in. So this is our rocket fire right here from Gaza. Hamas firing rockets. Still, despite being completely surrounded by IDF forces, they're still firing rockets. And, you know, it's like taking every little thing. Those things, by the way, that's why the UN, that's why we need to tell the UN to go fuck themselves. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm saying that.
I Kvicklis butikker og på Coop.dk.
Tell you why. I'm telling you why I'm saying the UN to go fuck themselves. Where do you think the materials Hamas is having right now to build rockets to kill civilians with is coming from? Where do you think it's coming from? Honest answer right here. Where do you think it's coming from? Because if you don't know, I can tell you really quickly. It's coming from the humanitarian aid that we gave Gaza. The things that are supposed to support the Gaza citizens, the Gaza residents, more than 1 million of them, people who are still within Gaza in the southern part, were supposed to be given to them. Many of those things are not only being used for... Well, not Iran. No. The Hamas people. The terrorists. They're taking the fuel. They're taking the water. They're taking all the means of the things that the residents... Because the UN, by the way, is not going into Gaza. The humanitarian leaders, the people who are giving these supplies, they're not going into Gaza to give them and to make sure. And they're not watching them drink it. You know, they're giving it to the people that are working within there. Then the Hamas comes in with their guns and takes it. They've even started to gun down some of their own citizens who refuse to give away some of their humanitarian aid. Hamas is not the people's fighter, but the people who are still in Washington. Washington was stormed today, by the way. The White House was stormed. Well, not stormed, sorry. Well, that's a bit of an overstatement. They weren't stormed like January 6th. No, they were it was They were at the gates, right? They're at the gates. They're shouting or throwing things at the Secret Service or the policemen on the outside, and they were doing it. Well, that's an explosion right there. Oh shit! Look at that big ass explosion back there. You saw that? That's live, by the way, from Gaza. But yeah, those things that you think are going in, UN, who's now thinking to themselves, "Ooh, I did a great job. I finally got aid into Gaza. Oh, I did a great job." You know what they're doing? They're prolonging the war. They're giving supplies to Hamas. If you don't give the humanitarian aid, and you wait it out, Israel can make Hamas stop this violence, which they don't need to be doing. They don't need to be doing all this violence right here. You see anything like this? Number 486. Welcome in. Now, that's my point of view here. Now, Hamas could stop this war within seconds. And that's the truth. That's the God-honest truth right there. Hamas could stop this within seconds. There's no doubt about it. Hamas, if they wanted to, they could stop this war within seconds. No, literally seconds. It wouldn't take them a second to say to Israel, you know what? We realize we fucked up. We're gonna give you this. We're gonna give you your hostages. We're gonna give you everything back. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna have to do. All right. We're gonna be sensible, but they're not being sensible. They're taking the supplies. They're taking everything that's being given by the useless UN, right? Because they are useless. What they're doing is giving supplies to terrorists. They don't realize it because they don't want to realize it. But that's just my truth here, and it's not me being. This is not me being outstanding here and theorizing things and saying that I'm this is something I don't know. It's just something I'm thinking of. No, it's reported. It's shown videos. People of the Gaza, in which people of the Gaza supported the Hamas attack. Many of them did. Don't get it wrong. Many of them did. Are now being gunned down in the streets because they simply are trying to resist Hamas from taking their supplies. It's been shown videos of. I can't show these videos here. Well, you think my obvious reasons, right? But I just pointed out here, Hamas is not some God-given soldier, okay? And they're not some God-given heroes. All they do, take the supplies that we're giving them for free, right? We're giving supplies to Hamas. The taxes I'm paying, the taxes you're paying, are going directly, some of that's going right to the UN, so you can give UN aid to terrorists. Point being here, I'm not against aid to Gaza residents, okay? I'm against giving aid to terrorists. They're then using that aid to kill more residents or to kill civilians, right? That's what I'm against. So, sorry, but it's true. And that's why they're still firing rockets. So that's another point. Another good point here that happened today that you might be interested in hearing about. Israel shot down a ballistic missile in space for the first time. The Telegraph, reported by the Telegram. According to the publication, the missile was launched from Yemen by the Houthis, who are Iranian-backed militias, and flew almost 1,600 kilometers, heading to the target, the Israel city of Eilat. The Israeli Defense Force was able to successfully shoot down the missile outside the Earth's atmosphere using the Aero Defense Missile System. And that is pretty cool. I tell you what, that's pretty cool. And the reason why it's pretty cool is because, well, you actually have the picture of the telegram here. You have the telegram and you have the article right here. It's true enough. It's been reported by multiple sources, not only on Twitter, but around the areas here. I think it was even reported by networks in Denmark, new news network. So it's the first time in human history that we've done so. We've never really shot it down before, and the reason why I believe it's pretty incredible. Not only has Israel's defense systems and the systems that they have, the missiles and everything, proven to be beyond anything that Iran, anything that anybody else in the fucking Middle East had. They've surprised Iran and the Arab coalitions on such levels that they're fearing Israel. They realize Israel wasn't somebody to play with, and they fear him now because he shot down a fucking ballistic missile in space. A point being, people, and then the internet is the internet, right? The internet is the internet. They always do the same thing. They're like, oh, but then you're ruining space. Really? It's like, point being, you can either have shrapnel falling down in an area of the Red Sea, sure. Or over Saudi Arabia. Now, most of it would probably just land in sand. Nothing would have happened. But in reality, if it happens over a big city, shrapnel from a missile traveling hundreds of miles an hour, right? That's gonna, no matter what, if you have shrapnel landing on a building, it's happens in Ukraine. Oh, you can look at back there. Look at that. It's gonna cause damage no matter what. No matter what you fire off, no matter what you do, it causes damage. Because a missile traveling thousands of miles a minute, traveling directly downwards, gets destroyed. Unless you burn it to hell by destroying every piece of the rocket, shrapnel will still fall, right? That shrapnel causes damage. And they can still contain explosive parts. They can still contain anything, you know, that is remote, that can damage. So it's good to do it in space. It's very hard, but it's something they did. The air defense system, personally, one of the best people to do it. Yeah. So another funny news here. I don't know if it's funny news, but I wanted to show you to you. An anti-Israeli in the U.S. tried to ram a man who had an Israeli flag on his motorcycle. He lost control and hit a truck. That's funny. These people see themselves as God's workers, because apparently God don't like them. God don't like these people because apparently they tried to ram down a man. You can see the flag right there. Right? That's the Israeli flag right there. There's Israeli flags ramming around. Now this man apparently didn't like that so much, so he tried to ram him. But it assaulted. And then you hear an American go off. Now fucker, you're hearing about him. He said, "Yeah, motherfucker."
You wanna play games?
Look at that.
Motherfucker. That ain't the fucker. Now we'll see how brave you are.
See how brave you are. Rammed his fucking car into a truck because he couldn't accept somebody riding around with an Israeli flag on the back of it. That motherfucker, which he is a motherfucker, tried not only to kill a man. He's riding on the highway. He's riding on any place, right? He rams the back of a motorcycle. He's gonna kill a man, right? Apparently he calls that God's work. But if you don't know God doesn't like people that kill people. Now, I don't know if you realize that, but God doesn't like it unless it's a justified reason. I'm not a religious man, but I know that. I'm not religious, but I know that. Now, point being here, and I keep saying point being here because I do have a point with this. Look at how ridiculously obsessed they are. Some of these supporters are so obsessed with, not only upset, but obsessed with getting rid of the, not only Jewish, but Israel reality or identity, right? They're so obsessed with getting rid of the Israeli identity, they would rather want to kill themselves or kill people who are simply driving around with a flag like that on his back of his motorbike, then accept that other people are allowed to support people, right? Because apparently, he's the only one who's allowed to suppose anybody. He drive his ass, and he's got karma. That's what I call karma. It truly is an amazing bit of karma right there for you. Now, I have another funny thing here, which also has a point being, right? But, yeah. Lock him up. Well, he's gonna get locked up because trying to kill somebody is an attempt at manslaughter. Okay, manslaughter. No matter what, if you didn't kill him, you say I didn't kill him. No, but you attempted to. You tried to drive your fucking car into his motorcycle. It's gonna get locked up. There's no other point. You're trying to manslaughter someone. You know, it's a manslaughter. Okay, but it's another point. It doesn't matter. Yeah, well, it matters, but it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't really matter that much. But here you go. Turkish police and special forces used water cannons, tear gas, and rubber bullets this morning to disperse a crowd of at least 5,000 pro-Palestinian Hamas supporters in front of Incirlik Air Force Base in city of Adana, which houses roughly 50 B-61 nuclear bombs and roughly 2,000 personnel of U.S. armed forces. Now, of course, Israel is obliged. I think he'll be charged for attempted murder with a motor vehicle as weapons. Yeah, obviously he will, Graham. That's exactly right. Oh, 80, I was about to say 86. Witchy, welcome in. Now, this happened today. One of the fears that you can have is certainly the idea of, I think you see the water cannon right there. But that right there is a U.S. military base that, I was said before, houses roughly 50 B-160 nuclear bombs. Now, even if they got their hands on the nuclear bombs, they're not going to be able to fire them off. That's not how it works. You can't just fire off a nuclear weapons if you got your hands on it. You know, targeting. It takes years of training. Well, maybe not years, but it definitely takes months of training to be able to fire a nuclear bomb. And then you need approval. You need approval from none other than I think the defense secretary and the U.S. president. And I don't think one of these guys are going to run into the base and get, you know, approval from Joe Biden to say, I'm going to fire nuclear missile. Well, you know, Joe Biden, he's a confused old man, so I don't know if he's, you know, you never know, but, well, I think one of the guys in the U.S. who do contain the nuclear code may stop it before it happens, but, of course, that has been the fears there. Now, it is funny because this happened in Turkey. Now, if you don't know, there's something more here. Some more videos. That's direct videos from the ground here. It's funny because Aragon is a avid supporter of Hamas and Gaza, and he's a literal supporter of what Hamas did. I mean, I don't think he said it out straight, but he did say some things that could prove that to that point. But here you have it. I mean, this is the outright lie right here. Now, was this sponsored by Turkey? I don't think so, because, I mean, they're using their water cannons. They're using that to, well, protect that, right? And, I mean, obviously, I don't think he's gonna want to use. You can see them holding their mouths. You can see they're kind of reddening and around the eyes. That's what tear gas does right there, too. Now, that's tear gas right there, because you can see him running up with a water bottle right there, trying to flash you into his face. The water won't make it better, dude. You just have to wait it out. That's all you can really do. There's a lady in a wheelchair. Now, yeah, you know, you know what the funny thing about that is? And in 1 second, they're gonna make a video about how, oh, look how they tear gassed an old lady. What? Well, I don't know if she's an old lady, but she's definitely a cripple. I mean, she's in a fucking wheelchair. Why do you take a crippled or an old lady? I don't know what's wrong with her. I couldn't see her face, but to a rally, to a base that's housing nuclear weapons, a U.S. base. They probably didn't know that it was housing nuclear weapons. I don't know if they did. Many of them probably didn't. But you know, you have to use milk. Well, yeah, even though you use milk, it hurts even then. You know, something cold helps, but it's, you know, I doubt the water bottle he's been carrying around with him in Turkey throughout the whole entire ordeal is still cold enough to affect anything. But you know, that's besides the point here. But you can definitely see them drying off their eyes, and they have definitely used tear gas. And it's an effective way. It's quite a terrible way, because it also, I mean, not only, it doesn't affect you any term permanently, but it definitely does affect you in some ways. I mean, it can, especially, what's really stupid, the reason why I'm pointing it out here, is they brought a disabled person to that rally they knew was probably going to turn pretty bad. You know, it's like this ridiculous notion right there for you. Ridiculous notion for you, right? That they're going to take a crippled person to a rally with problems, pre-existing problems, and then tear gas, which I don't know could kill him, but if they already had, you know, something existing, I mean, it could definitely hurt them, right? Let's just say, oh, that's Turkey's fault. Well, how is that Turkey's fault? How is it the U.S. fault? You brought it. You know, that's the ridiculous reality of it. You know, that's what they do, bringing them along. There's no reason to, but they do it still. Point being, right? Now, I don't know if you heard, but you may have heard a certain person called Amia El Yahu says that Israel Minister of Heritage says that dropping an atomic weapon on Gaza is one of the possible options. That was his previous statement. Now, other people have come out and said, Saudi Arabia came out with a statement saying, Saudi Arabia's foreign minister says Israel minister's comment about nuclear weapons shows to what extent extremism and brutality has that's penetrated the Israeli government, and that the disregard for all values, morality, regional, and law. Now, if you don't know the story of what Saudi Arabia has done to not only its people but other people as well, that coming from Saudi Arabia is one of the most outright ridiculous things, because they are famous for violating human law. But people say, oh, they're not. Well, guess who sponsored 9/11, right? I mean, guess who's sponsored 9/11, because that's not a conspiracy theory. We know they did. I mean, people say it's a conspiracy theory, but still, we know they did. But that doesn't matter. That's beside the point, right? But I mean, it's a stupid idea. Don't get me wrong. I'm not in favor of dropping a nuke on Gaza. Just don't get me wrong here, because not only, let me just put it at a military perspective here. Put aside the human perspective. Put it in a military perspective. Your forces in Gaza, even if you use the lowest of the lowest yield bombs, it won't not affect your troops, okay? Dropping a nuke on a city an area that is 45 square kilometers wouldn't just destroy that area. Oh, thank God. That's fucking ridiculous. Wouldn't just destroy that area. It would destroy the whole existing area around it. It would destroy everything. Not only would it have a nuclear fallout, because it would have some kind of nuclear fallout. No matter how many bombs, if you drop one bomb, there's going to be some kind of fallout, the radiation that comes with it. Your soldiers on the ground, gone. The people on the border with Gaza, gone. It's such a, what the fuck is he talking about? There's a fence. Even though if there's the strongest of the strongest walls, they wouldn't stop the radiation from coming through. I mean, unless you had a wall, probably about maybe like a kilometer high and maybe, well, I don't know, 2 meters or 10 meters thick, then you might be able to keep off some of that radiation. But since they don't have that, and they have a fence with holes in it, I wouldn't recommend that. However, it is important to note that Netanyahu, who current Prime Minister of Israel, has suspended the Heritage Minister Amahia Eliyahu from, they have a lot of names that's similar, from government meetings indefinitely. He's suspended. I don't know if he's got fired. He probably got fired as well, but he certainly is suspended. People go, oh, why? Well, what do you think so, asshole? Why do you think so? His suggestion, his only contribution to this war that has killed people in his country was, oh, maybe we should drop a nuke on it. That's like, oh, you're a smart guy. Maybe you should shut the fuck up. That's a better idea. I feel like you would have done better if you shut the fuck up for a second. But I don't know. That's just my point of view. I don't, but it's, that's just my point of view. Now, I talked about this a little second ago. We'll move on here, but talking about this 1 second ago, right? So people keep saying this is Gaza, Israel will not accept, and they keep pointing out Israel will not accept a ceasefire. No, but here's the point of view that I have, okay? Here's a pretty good point of view that I have.
Seeing the arc of the traces after it.
Okay. Israel could stop. Sorry, not Israel. Hamas could stop this within a second. Deliver the hostages. Make a deal. Israel wants Hamas gone. They want them gone. They could make a deal that would value their lives. However, they won't surrender. They're like, the closest comparisons to Hamas is the fucking Japanese in World War II. They're going to fight it out to the end, the last man. That's their point of view, right? And yeah, but they could stop it in a second.
Literally fly from the sky. A significant number of
have a ceasefire
being
within a second.
Over Gaza. What you are looking at right now is looking into the urban areas in Gaza. You're looking at rockets coming down as well, falling from the sky there into Gaza. These flares in the sky are illuminating the ground because there are ground forces, IDF ground forces in Gaza, around the city of Gaza City, surrounding it now, the IDF says. You're just seeing another flash of light on the ground there as if something has detonated.
But that's the reality of how Gaza looks like right now. Now, I've explained before, if you were here before, listening to my rant about how I think they could all stop it, which is true, and how they're using the humanitarian aid given to them by the UN. The UN gave them humanitarian aid. Then they thought, oh, I did such a great job. Now I can go home and rest my soul easily. All right. All you're doing is giving more supplies to a terrorist organization that not only will use that for their advantages and to, well, to simply the wall Trump built. Well, I don't think that's high enough, but yeah. But well, I mean, that's, yeah. But, yeah. I mean, the UN supplies, this is not me coming up with some random ideas here, this is reality, okay? The UN supplies that are coming in are being given to them to, not being given to the people of Gaza. The people of Gaza still will out most of the food and the supplies they need to not only run their hospitals, but pretty much anything, right? The hospitals are going out, and you know what Hamas says? Oh, it's Israel's fault. Israel's doing this against them. It's Israel. It's like, you are the one taking the supplies. We've delivered supplies. We continue to deliver supplies. Might I mind you, completely free. You're not paying for it. So the UN, with their useless ideologies, right, is giving supplies to Hamas free. Now, I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm not against giving supplies to the people of Gaza because they desperately need it. They are in a situation in where they need supplies. But again, Hamas, with their guns against people who simply don't have guns, who simply have nothing left. I mean, their houses are gone. Freddie, welcome in. Have nothing, right? They have nothing. They have literally, if you put it into perspective, what they have is a couple of mattresses and the cars. That's pretty much, that's what they have. There's nothing else there, right? What they have is nothing, in a literal term, right? Hamas, who used their underground tunnel to smuggle these supplies into the city again to continue to fight, the UN is giving them away and saying we're giving humanitarian supplies. We're doing a great thing, you know? Yeah, you know, it's like, no, you're not doing a great thing because you're prolonging a war that could have been over by now if you hadn't given those supplies to them. And if you just say to Egypt, hey Egypt, we're going to figure all this out, okay? Let them through the Rafah border, let them all through, you know, organized, obviously, let them through. We'll pay for the supplies, you know, the housing of these people until the situation in Gaza is stable enough for them to go back. And that's where I thought we could put the deal. But no, it doesn't appear that they're smart enough to make such a deal, right? It doesn't appear they're smart enough to make such a deal because if they were smart enough, they would have either said, Hamas, release the hostages, we'll give you supplies. Hamas does do this, right? Instead of recognizing that Hamas is a fucking terrorist organization, all they'll do is say, which is fucking gibberish. They won't do shit, okay? It's gibberish. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, but that's my feelings about them. I have a lot of feelings about the UN, not positive, but some are positive, obviously. Some are very unpositive. Now, I wanted to give you this because there's a certain thing I want to point out. Well, you can see the Gaza city is pretty much cut off. The reason why, because the IDF has forces here, right? This is the border. They can't get out there, so that's cut off. This is the sea, the sea axis. I still believe they have plans for connecting these two areas, eventually, probably. However, the sea axis, that they say they have continued to have sea axis, right? You don't have sea axis anymore. The amount of sea elements they can get out is diminished by the minute, you know? So they don't really have any sea axis routes. They are cut off in all areas. They are. Now, the IDF is appearing to close off some of the last border segments here. You can see they're kind of going along the borders that was set down, kind of, I guess, in a way. But they might cut off this little area here. I'm not sure if that's their main point, maybe. But I don't think it is. I think right now they're pretty slow. And the reason why they're not moving so fast right now is because they, they're spending a lot of what they have right now on. Right now, they're spending a lot of time precision striking the Hamas groups, not spending forces on taking out tunnels deep underground. So what they're saying is that they don't want to become the U.S. in the fucking Vietnam War, going into tunnels, fighting people who are used to operate inside these tunnels. You know, it would take them a long time, you know, to operate that, and it was a ridiculous notion. What was ridiculous about it was the first thing was going down into those tunnels in Vietnam in the first place. That was fucking ridiculous. Now, all due respect to the people who actually did it. I will say that again. I'll say it as long as I live. I've the most most amount of respect for people who went down to those tunnels. That must have been a horrible job. But they still did it, and they're the tough as nails. Respect to that. However, I still thought it was a stupid campaign that could have been avoided in some ways. I don't know if I think they put it into the fact that they used water that didn't work. They used gas that didn't work. However, there might have been some other inventions they could have thought of, but you know, that's the same point of view that we have here. That going into tunnels, I think the IDF realizes that going into tunnels, instead of just using bombs to dig a hole, you know, they're literally using bombs to kind of scrape out the ground. Watching interesting documentary about North Korea. Well, fair enough. So yeah, well, you're much. It's only about 30 minutes ready, so not too much. But yeah, that's my point of view here. We don't have to go into that area, but yeah, let's hope they don't. I don't think they're gonna spend forces going into a tunnel, you know. But one day, we don't know. But I mean, they could just starve them out. That's the point of view here I have. They could starve them out. The way they could do that is by cutting off pretty much all of the axes, blowing off all of the axes, and just holding the access grounds and you know, the areas in where they go into the tunnels. They could just get to that, hold that, starve them out. You know, that's the main point of view I have. Well, we'll get to that in a second here. Iraq security forces are mobilizing tonight in Baghdad in anticipation for a possible civil unrest and attacks on the Green Zone, as members of the Sadrist movement and Iranian-backed groups have called for protest across the city in response to the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken visit to Iraq. The U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is visiting Iraq. Here you have it. He's posted this badass fucking picture, and I don't care what you think about Blinken. Okay, I have respect for him to go into Iraq, even, you know, without the most amount of tactical gear. And wearing Kevlar. Well, he's wearing Kevlar right now, but I think that was when he was getting on the plane. This one was a U.S. Secretary of State Blinken waits to board a helicopter on the tarmac upon arrival en route to meeting Iraq Prime Minister Mohammad Shiad al-Saadin at Baghdad International Airport in Baghdad.
Hvis det udvikler sig. Nu skal jeg snakke med Anne, som har haft kræft I halsen.
Så jeg skal have skål.
Christ. Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, we have the video of them definitely mobilizing. He is, I you know, I don't care what you think about it. I think this moment right here is pretty badass. Throughout this war, if you were to tell me who do you like the most out of the U.S., out of the people in the U.S., I'd say, or who do you want to control a war? I'd pick Anthony Blinken. He's definitely the most badass of them, and he's the one who doesn't really give a shit if you tell him to fuck off. He'll stay, you know. So it's you know, that's the point of view here. Here you have it. There you have it. That's the reiteration. Well, they don't want him here, and that's, well, you wonder why. Do you wonder why they don't want him there? I don't know. Why wouldn't they want them there? Why wouldn't they? You know, like, yeah, why wouldn't they? But yeah, that's certainly something. More reporting inside the Gaza Strip. Yeah, I think I was Trey Yingst here. Pretty sure. Yes, Trey Yingst. Trey Yanks is admit the chaos here, and we have a longer video here. This is just and this is just a trailer of what we're going to see here, but check this out.
Right now, the Israelis are engaged in a gun battle with Hamas militants inside the Gaza Strip. They are working at this hour to go block by block and clear this area, trying to get to the Mediterranean Sea, effectively cutting the northern part of Gaza from the southern part. As this is taking place, they've been ambushed. They've lost more than 24 of their own soldiers, and the battle continues. Right now,
yeah, he's on the front lines. I mean, that man, Trey Yanks, he's a fucking badass, I'll tell you that much. Okay, so here we have it. So this is the big video right here. We know the hostages, most of them are inside Gaza City instead of the tunnels underneath the city. So here you have it. This is him going for a... Yeah, he's in the fucking area. So here you have it.
right now we're with the Israeli military in an armored personnel carrier. The Israelis have cut the Gaza Strip in half. They've fought their way to the Mediterranean Sea and encircled Gaza City. They're waiting now for the orders to go farther in.
Seconds after arriving on the outskirts of Gaza City, the crack of gunfire pierces the air.
So right now we are in the...
Israeli troops move carefully over mounds of dirt and debris. They understand Hamas can target them from above and below ground.
We found 2 tunnels, and now we're going to destroy them.
In the distance, black smoke billows from the skyline as Israeli forces take positions on nearby rooftops.
You can hear that gunfire in the distance. The Israelis are trying to engage anyone who tries to ambush their forces. And the battle is street by street. It is urban guerrilla warfare as Hamas is popping out.
Sorry I'm stopping here, but do you remember the time where there was a lot of people in Gaza that went, oh, I'm in the southern Gaza, went, oh, I'm so afraid, I'm so afraid to get bombed, oh. Trey Yanks, meanwhile, turns his back to the area where he just got shot from. You know, there's an area the shot came, and then he stands up and goes and turns his back to the area and goes, oh yeah, so by the way, you know, like, he's got something.
Out of tunnels and ambushing Israeli troops.
8 days ago, the Israelis invaded with 2 missions: to hunt down Hamas leadership and bring hostages home. The latter is proving to be far more difficult.
We know that the hostages are most of them inside Gaza City, and not inside the suburbs area, but inside the tunnels underneath the city. We're doing everything we can in order to free them.
Lieutenant Colonel Gilad Pasternak is fighting his 3rd war. The 38-year-old is in charge of 5 battalions. His soldiers include those like Jeremiah Wallace, who's originally from Philadelphia. He moved to Israel and joined the army. Now he points to why the war began.
We're making sure whatever happened on October 7th never happens again.
As the ground war continues, Hamas and Islamic Jihad are still firing rockets into southern and central Israel 29 days into this conflict. Paul?
Thank you, Trey. Let's bring...
Now, I'm not gay, but I will tell you, he's a very attractive man. He is a hell of a reporter. I've never seen anybody like it. If I listen to anybody, it's Trey Yanks. He's such an amazing reporter, and also fucking badass. I mean, I'll show you. I explained that fucking clip right there. He's the last man fucking standing. He's the last reporter standing. Ain't none of those other people goes, oh, I'll go into Gaza. I'll go into the action. They go, oh, I'm so afraid of getting shot. You know, like Trey Yanks goes. Okay, so by the way, we got shot from over there? Okay, let me just stand with my back to that area. Right? Let me just stand with my back to the area in where I just got shot from. Right? There's a sniper back there. Okay, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to stand with my back to that area. And talk to you guys, because that's the best view we have. We have a good view right here. So, you know, I mean, I tell you what. I don't even know if I did. I don't even know if I would do that, because... holy shit. I mean, that guy, and he sits in his leather jacket. He looks like the kind of guy that's going to wear like a leather jacket, doesn't he? You know? He catches bully. The real American. Now, I want to point out, I don't know if he's American. I think he is. Is he Israeli? No, I think he is American. So he's Fox News, right? Now, I want to point something out to you that I thought was funny that I saw in the clip right there. The commander you saw, he sounded Australian to me. I think he was Australian because he said he moved to Israel. He sounds Australian to me, right? And one of the things about the Australians that throughout history, there's a funny thing with those guys, because in World War II, when Britain obviously called on the Israelis to fighting under that command in Britain in Africa, they weren't very good at listening to officers. And usually the British soldiers, when the officers came by, they're like, "Stand hut," you know. Well, not stand hut, they didn't say that, but that was Americans. But you know, the same thing, right? Stand hut, you know, arms up, saluting the officers. When the Australians who were sitting there, the officers come by, the British officer, right, comes by, they didn't salute them. They didn't remember to salute him, because they were like, "Oh, fuck off, mate. Fuck off," you know. And but when it came to fighting, they were fucking magnificent at it. Okay, they would take out any German that came their way. They were fucking significant at it, and they would you know, they were the ones. If you had a story of an area, I think it was in Egypt. Yeah, it was in Egypt. A port. I think it was that port, actually. I think it was the port in an area, can't remember exactly, but it was an area in this port right here where a team of Australian soldiers, Australian regiment, Pennsylvania, Trey Yingst. All right, okay, yeah, fair enough. So he's American, right? So those few, which was a regiment of Australians, kept fighting for, I think it was like 8 months or something like that. There were months of fighting, completely encircled, by the way. Well, completely encircled by Germans. None other than Germans and Italians, both armies supplied. They fought on for months, right? And they were Australian, completely Australian. You know, the Australians, they fought with just ferociousness. They just never quit. The Germans even said, "Oh, if you don't fight against Australians," they said, "We don't want to fight against Australians. You only want to fight against the British and the Americans." Well, usually most Germans preferred fighting against the British because the British like to retreat. Now, no offense to the British, they fought well in World War II, but they did say the British were the ones they liked to fight against the most, because they liked fighting against the British because they would always be the ones that were most undersupplied in certain ways. But that's for another point, because, well, Britain was very stretched out during World War II, but that's beside the point, right? And that's not their fault, by the way, because they were very stretched out. You know, production, all that, besides the point. They did win, and they fought well in Europe and in Africa, but that's another point. In the start of the war, right, they like fighting against the British. They never like fight against the Americans, because the Americans were always well supplied. They said, "Oh, there's always 11 Americans tanks, you know. A Tiger can take out 10 Americans tanks," they said, but there's always 11 American tanks. You know, Americans always so well supplied. With the Australians, they said, "Oh, we don't like fighting against Australians." They ask why, and they say, "Well, because they fight so ferociously. They fight so great. They're so goddamn annoying to fight against, because they don't surrender. And all of a sudden, you got a fucking Australian who's running around the heat, because they're used to the heat, right? And a British soldier running around down here in Egypt, they're not used to the heat, but the Australians are." Another side point here, but I think it speaks the point here. You know, even to this day, they're still good at fucking fighting. Okay, well, let's move on here. Iran's defense minister threatens the U.S. will be hit hard if ceasefire is not implemented in Gaza. So the Iranian defense minister, has threatened the U.S. once more. Now, should you guys be afraid of that? No, I wouldn't be. Now, the only reason there could be a threat of such sort is because they are in Middle Eastern countries. Now, usually Middle Eastern countries, when they say we're gonna hit you hard, usually sometimes doesn't mean a military conventional, but a sort of terrorist attack. I can't say that that's what's going to happen. I believe that their threats are directed towards U.S. bases based in the Middle East. I believe that's where the most of the threats are based upon. Because I think what they're talking about is we're going to destroy a base, we're going to destroy, something like that. But it's always funny because they say U.S. has to implement peace in Gaza or ceasefire in Gaza, right? But then like next week they're gonna go, well, we're still waiting for the U.S. to implement peace in Gaza, and then next week they go, are you gonna attack now? No, listen, hey, the U.S. has to implement peace in Gaza or we will attack. It's the same thing. It's like one of those red lines from Russia red lines. Now I want to wait and see because maybe Iran speaks up in their things. I don't know how much Iran likes to respond. They are a bit ferocious when it comes to response sometimes. Look at that. Russia keeps moving things into Kaliningrad. Or moving things out. I'm not sure where, but they keep moving some things in. It appears they're still moving things in. That's something we want to keep an eye on. Certainly. Now, it might become one of those, Russian red lines where it's like, you have to watch out or we will attack. And then a year later they say, you have to watch out, we will attack, Yeah, I think what they're talking about, if it's going to be from their flag, I doubt the fact that Iran will attack anything under their own flag. That's the same thing with the Russians. You don't attack anything under their own flag. With a massive attack, they don't attack anything under their own... They attack Ukraine under their own flag. But, to start with, the main incursions into Ukraine, the main part of Ukraine, right? They fought in Crimea in 2014. That was Russian forces. But they were also in Ukraine with those Russian-backed militias who were fighting in Ukraine. Now, those ones... well, they weren't exactly under Russian flag, Well, they were. They were sponsored by them, but they weren't, officially under Russian flag, which was another thing. Russians and the Iranians, they always, don't fight under the same flag. Look at what Wagner does, right? Wagner's not officially a Russian military unit. They're a separate militia, but, they were Russian supplied. Hamas-run health minister says that there's been a massacre in central Gaza. Now, taking anything what Hamas said would be a grain of salt, I'd say. But do I believe that there's a massacre in central Gaza? No, I don't think so. I think they're overproportioning the numbers of people who are actually been killed. I think they are deliberately sending people into the rubble and into areas. I think Hamas is causing people to die because they are hiding underneath hospitals and schools and playgrounds and stuff like that. All areas where they know the West will have a hard time trying to strike because they don't want to strike it. There's only one problem. They're fighting against Israel, not the West. So yeah, that's... I don't know. I don't think... So, reportedly on this earlier, here in Iraq, the Green Zone Baghdad is reportedly now on lockdown with all bridges and gates to the international zone have been closed by Iraq military and security forces. They've closed the Green Zone, so they're not... I think they're not letting anybody through, in case of anything, just because Anthony Blinken is there. But keep more on that as well. Senior IDF officials tells Israel residents near Gaza, we hope to die on the battlefield because we are ashamed that we abandoned you. We promise that we will win this war. Yeah, residents near Gaza, right? And we're saying we will die on the battlefield. We are sorry that we abandoned you, and it's true. Did they abandon them? I don't know, but they certainly didn't react in time. I think that's what he's trying to say, but yeah. A precision airstrike by an Israeli drone has reportedly targeted a car in southern Lebanon that was carrying 3 Hezbollah terrorists. However, like always, the Lebanese media is claiming that the car contained 3 children and their mother. So apparently, the car that had 3 people in it was carrying 3 children and their mother. The math ain't mathing, but I think now reading it out, I think I misread that. I think I misread that, and maybe it's no, I didn't misread that. I think it was the tweet that I took it from, or I took it from. I did, but the media it was reporting it about. I don't know if they can't do math. Maybe they can't do math. I don't know, but you know, here you have it. This is what I've got it from. He may be in type mistake. Maybe I didn't read that. So contained 3 children and their mother. Apparently the mother is also a child, which it's not unusual in these areas. I'm just saying it, but I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I'm just saying it is sometimes usual in the areas, but you know, whatever. But yeah, here's the car. Riding along, keep in mind, right? Riding along the Lebanese border, which is an area that the Lebanese have told people to stay away from. So you're telling me that a random resident and with a mother and 3 children, or 2 children, which we were supposed to go by the numbers, right? Drove by so close to the Israeli border, which is an area that Lebanon and Hezbollah has told people to stay away from. Lebanon told the people and the residents to stay away from the area. So you're telling me that a mother and their 2 children and her 2 children decided to, you know what? Let me drive directly up along the Israeli border, or very close to it, so I can, you know. But I don't know if that's true or not, because it could be that they did do it, and Hezbollah is telling the truth, or that Israel is telling the truth. Do I have a tendency to believe Israel over Hezbollah, who is a terrorist organization? Yeah, I trust Israel a little bit more.
Ambulance.
The math is adding up. The factor that it might not be Israelis, the factor that it might not be civilians, you know, because they're so close to the border. But the car is a family car, which is one thing. The car is definitely a family car. It just looked like a usual terrorist car, which is the only thing that's getting me sort of well up, because it doesn't look like a usual terrorist car. This certainly looks like a family saloon car, doesn't it? I mean, it certainly looks like one of those cars. So could I tell you who's true, what's true or not? I don't know, because I couldn't actually tell you. I don't really know who's telling the truth or not. I think there's videos of it. I think you can go see the video of who were actually killed. I could show that. But I don't know. I couldn't really see a lot of that in the video. It didn't look like children to me, but you know, whatever. We'll have to see about that, obviously. Okay, so here you have it. For you Americans, you might wanna close your mouths, because you don't want to cuss in front of your children's. But an anti-Israeli protest attacked the fence of the White House. Some are even climbing it and fighting with the security service. So, but yeah, here you have it. This happened today. Well, you know, Americans. The funny thing is, the Americans didn't just climb the fence. They actually stormed them. But this is another point here. So maybe, I don't know. Did the White House deserve this? You know, I mean, I'm just saying, the Americans did it. Well, they're also Americans, obviously. That's not what I'm saying.
Shame! Loser! Shame! You feel better?
It's Remembrance Day. Yeah? I think it's funny.
Yeah, you're a pussy.
We'll never stop.
You feel better? You feel like a big man?
We're so proud. Alright.
You feel better? Alright. Shame on you! Shame on you!
So, you know, I got good video, but I was...
How dare you!
These people right here, right? These people who are yelling at the Secret Service, or these people right here, get them away from our house. Well, I tell you what, as long as they're protesting, that's all they're doing. It's gonna blow over in a month or two, trust me. It will. It always does. The thing I find funny about that is the fact that they think they can interrogate these people. Now, these people in here at the Secret Service, right? They know that the people out here who are standing, they're not carrying around guns. They're not start firing guns. They may do. We don't know. I mean, that's, of course, the issue there. I mean, some of these people have taken to the violence. You know, not just Muslims. I've seen multiple amount of videos of people who are simply supporting who are Americans or who are not second in the 50, who were white folks, if you can call it like that. Listen, I know I might sound a little wrong here saying it, but the best way I can explain it is the way I'm explaining it. Okay, I'm not trying to be rude here or anything, but that's the way I'm explaining it. And I see to you the fact that they think that they are scared. The factor is, most Secret Service are special forces. Most Secret Service has been to either fucking the Middle East, you know, fought against terrorists. You know, these people, they don't give a fuck. You know, Secret Service. Do you think you think you're scaring your Secret Service? You know, they're fucking, most of them are Secret Service, right? Ex-military, obviously. But yeah. Thank you. Nicholas, welcome in. But yeah, I mean, it's like the fact that they think they can scare them is funny to me. Most of them are...
What the fuck you mean? America wants Palestine.
American want...
America don't stand with Israel, bitch.
Well, we do. Well, America does stand with Israel. That's...
Forget about them in history. That seems very silly to me. I think this is really important. And I think it's...
Yeah, there you have it. It's like it's like some of those people think they can antagonate you know what kind of shit Secret Service have seen throughout their military services. You know what kind of stuff they've done. Most of those guys are Secret Service, or they're fucking tough as nails, right? So, listen. Those guys, by the way, are not Secret Service. I know they keep saying it's Secret Service, but most of the people who are standing in the White House, most of those guys have ex-military, or most of them, or many of them are specials.
Gør hverdagsmaden lettere med Hello Fresh.
Jesus Christ.
Balanceret
lot of
på den lette måde.
You know, it's a lot of ads. Most of those guys are ex-military or something like that. You know, it's yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to point out, but I guess, you know. The CIA, take bullet from people. No second thought, they're not. That's true. CIA Director William Burns have arrived in Tel Aviv. So the CIA Director is in Tel Aviv. I wonder what they're gonna talk about. About a lot of secret stuff. I bet. CIA secret. So Justin Trudeau put out a statement here saying, I spoke with Prime Minister of Israel today. I reiterated Canada's support for Israel and its right to defend itself. In accordance with international law, we also spoke about the need for Hamas to immediately and unconditionally release those hostages, those being held hostage. Trudeau knows what's up. Not Truden, what? That's not even his word. Justin Trudeau, I don't even read his word right there, knows what's up. That's exactly what they have to do. And they can end it in a second. I'll repeat it to you again. Hamas could end this like Danish ad. Yeah, it's a Danish ad. They speak Danish. Many of you probably won't understand it. I mean, I don't know, Freddie, you might understand a little bit. Secret. But Justin Trudeau, I mean, Hamas could end this within a second. Okay? Hamas could end this within seconds. Now, if you might wonder why nobody else in the Middle East have attacked Israel yet, I'll tell you why. The Nimitz-class aircraft carrier USS Dwight Eisenhower, CV... Okay, I'm not going to read that. And the other ships of the U.S. Navy carrier strike Group 2, including the... Oh, God damn it. Ticonderoga. There we go. Class guided missile cruiser, the USS Filipina Sea, that's what it's called, as well as two Air League, I think it's Air League or something like that. I'm doing my best here. Booker class guided missile destroyers, USS Mason And USS Gravely has crossed into the Suez Canal today, into the Red Sea and the area of operations for the U.S. Central Command CENTCOM in the Middle East, while in the region they will continue to provide deterrence to Iran and terror groups who may attempt to get involved with the war in Israel. So, I don't know if you counted that out, but strike groups of America, you know, literal fucking American aircraft carriers, are heading at this moment in time into the Red Sea, are in the Red Sea. Imagine you're a terrorist with your limited resources. You're looking out your window in the morning. You woke up, right? Oh, that's a good sleep. That's surprisingly good sleep. I shot a lot of people yesterday, so I thought I had bad sleep. But today I had a good sleep. Let me look out my window here. Let me get my curtains away. Holy fucking shit! You know, America's here, baby, and ain't about to fuck around. Okay, America ain't gonna fuck around because they're fucking tired. I think genuinely, Joe Biden is fucking tired of everybody's bullshit. He's like, holy fucking shit! Can everybody just shut the fuck up for a second? Like, I just do the same thing. He's like, can people just shut the fuck up for like a fucking second? You know, like, can you not attack each other? Can we just have a peace? Like, we haven't had peace in so long in the Middle East. We really need to shut the fuck up, you know? Let's just have peace. You know, live among each other. Have a good life, you know? Why shoot at each other? Why not just live a good life? I don't know, but yeah, the point being here, the reason why most of these Arab countries or Arab coalitions, you know, the Arab nations, who, by the way, if there's an alliance out there that you say, oh, NATO's has a weak alliance, they have so much internal, turbulence and problems, and you say, well, that might be true. Sometimes we don't agree with each other, but that's mostly Turkey and Greece and some of these other countries, right? But then I say to you, have you ever thought of a league of nations, right, that are trying to work together, that simply couldn't work together? The Arab nations, they don't know how to work with each other because most of them hate each other. They don't like each other, you know. I'm reminded of a time in Chinese history, way back in the time, right, way back in ancient times, when China has had that history of kind of breaking down and falling apart, and new nations would arrive, Han Dynasty and all these other dynasties that were around, and a certain time, there was this war leader called Dun Zhou, who, well, it's a long story about it. He marched to the dynasty, he marched to the emperor when the time of people that were kind of tired of the eunuchs, I think it's eunuchs or something like that, who were tired of, people were tired of him being, you know, them being such an asshole, the emperor being so easily persuaded, because the emperor was a kid. You know, most of the time of the Chinese history, because the emperor, well, people died before, you know, people tend to die before the kid was an adult, and then the emperor, because there wasn't any kind of there wasn't a government, so the people, you know, the king would usually be a kid. And people didn't like that, because kids, well, they can't rule a kingdom, they don't know how to rule a kingdom. And the eunuchs, I think it's gonna or something like that. You know, those guys with no dongs, right? No dongs, no dong guys, right? They they would try and corrupt these people, right? So they could get Rocky Mansion filled with a pool of wine. The people didn't like that. The peasantry didn't like that. So they revolted. It was called this time called the Yellow Turbans Revolving, right? I'm just talking, they have to scream it angrily. That's true. But you did Yellow Turbans Rebellions, right? And they revolted. They were put down by, they were trying to be put down. Eunuchs, there you have it. They were trying to be put down by the dynasty, the imperial dynasty tried to put them down, but there were too many of them, millions, right? So what did the dynasty do? They called upon the different warlords across the country, across China, to help them, well, get rid of the rebellion. Now they did do that. However, it just so happens that when you tell other people to fight your battle for you, they tend to realize that, well, you don't have any power to say anything over them anymore. Okay, so what do we do then? We evolve ourselves. We create our own dynasties. We create our own reality. And people didn't like the dynasty, so they thought, well, let's just go to war against the dynasty instead. So they did that. They went to war against the emperor, and all of a sudden, they got really scared, and they thought, well, now's the end. That was the end, right? It just so happened that there was still one warlord who was in the spies of the dynasty who wanted the dynasty. So he went to the dynasty. He took over the dynasty. He was the biggest warlord in China. He had thousands of men. Thousands. He walked there. His name was Don Zhou or something. Don Do or something. Don Do, I think his name was. And he was a fat and oily asshole. But when he got there to the dynasty in the old China, he took over the place, and he pretty much held off the rebellions and the people, the warlords trying to fight with each other. They couldn't defeat Don Zhou, so they all went home. But people said, well, why'd they go home? They had millions of men. They could have easily defeated him. There was a problem. They didn't like each other. None of the warlords liked each other because they tried to take the dynasty by themselves. So why would they fight together? Because if they fought together, took the dynasty, took the imperial palace by themselves, took China over by themselves, they would be they would control everything. But if they were fighting against everybody else, inevitably they would end up in war against each other anyways. So why use their men against a war with somebody that they would then have to turn against each other eventually? They wouldn't do that. So they decided to go home. They didn't work together. Now that's another story, but that's a point of view here. Sometimes with these people who need to work together to defeat an enemy, who in many ways were smaller than them, had less men than them, but the only reason they couldn't work together because they were so self-loathing, so self-loving, they couldn't fight with each other because they wanted the dynasty, they wanted the power for themselves. And nowadays, point of view, right? What does Iran want? They run the Middle East. They want to run the Middle East. They want to be the most powerful country. What does Saudi Arabia want? They want to run the Middle East. They want to be the most powerful country. What does any of the other Middle Eastern countries want? They want to run the Middle East. Egypt, Iraq, Syria. Many of them are civil warring against each other. They didn't have terrorist organizations within. Now, many of those terrorist organizations within those countries trying to be the best, wants to be the best. These people can't work together. They don't have a system in where they say, we'll fight together so that we can have a shared power. Now, Europe, they may have a sort of way that they could fight with each other so that we could share the power eventually. Right? There may be some turmoil to figure out, but we'll eventually figure out the power. Now, NATO will do the same thing. That we fight for each other. We fight for our countries. Right? We're not trying to take over each other's countries or trying to be the most powerful one. We fight together. It's the Arab League, who's not a military organization, they don't fight for each other. They don't like each other. Okay? Trying to make you understand here, they don't like each other. It's pointing out to the same story that happened in China. It happened so many times in China's history where people tried to take the imperial palace, tried to take control, but they tried to take control together. But eventually, they would attack each other. Eventually, allies who were allies, they would attack each other. They don't like each other. In Chinese history, they would then the allies that were allies that attacked each other usually would end up at war against each other because both of those guys wanted to be the leader. It's same things happening today. Okay, they don't like each other. Point being, sorry I'm speaking a lot here, but I think it's an important point. So what do you say, Freddie? I watched a lot of Danish news. The content is better than the Swedish evening news. Well, yeah, we do have some good news. Instead of powering hospitals, Hamas actively deprived Gazans of half of the million liters of the fuel that rightly belongs to them. Exactly as I pointed out. Now, this wasn't pointed out by a random source. No. It's pointed out by the Israeli Defense Force, who posted the video here. Here you have it.
اللي انا فوت على المستشفيات ياخذون وموافق مع هذا الشيء يا عم كلامك صح.
What do you think Hamas is doing with 500,000 liters of gallons of gallons or whatever you call it, amounts of water. What do you think they're doing with it? They're not doing anything good with it, I can tell you that much. They're doing bad things with it. They're keeping it for themselves. That's what they're doing. That's what they like doing. Not the Benjamin, who is the leader of Hamas, sorry, not Hamas, Israel Prime Minister, a senior advisor. If Hamas uses hospitals and schools for military purposes, we have the right to target them. We're back, all right. So the Israelis senior advisor said that if Hamas uses hospitals and schools for military purposes, we have the right to target them. A lot of people find that sentence very controversial, and I tell you why. Because, well, people don't like targeting hospitals. I can get that, but you also have to put a scenario into your mind sometimes. You know, think about it. If they're using it for military purposes, in which he says, what do you have to do? Now, if a person is shooting at a crowd, right, and you think to yourself, I have a gun, I could finish this. I could finish this right now. I could save 100 people. But there's a woman standing in front of that man who won't move. Won't get out of the way. Right? So what do? Do you lay down your arms, get accepted, maybe get shot? Accept the fate. You know, you accepted your fate. Or do you take the shot at the risk of going through a hospital? Going through a woman. But what if you went right? What if it went through the woman's shoulder? That woman could survive. The hospital can be rebuilt. Okay? The hospital can be rebuilt. But you can't revive a dead terrorist. And you also can't revive a bunch of dead civilians in Israel because, well, they're dead, right? Because Hamas shot a rocket at them. It slipped by the Israeli Iron Dome system. It shot so many rockets it slipped by the Israeli defense system. What do? That's civilian lives right there. So it's a one scenario system. You either take the shot, you get rid of her. You take the good shot, right? You get rid of the terrorist. You may save the woman. You may save 100 people, or you simply let down your weapon. What's your choice going to be? Because if your choice is going to be, I'm going to lay down my weapon, you know, that's not how the world works. You know, that's how a terrorist world actually works. That's usually how a terrorist worlds work. They lay down their weapons. Well, they usually don't, but in that scenario, they probably would. Because that's what they like. They like to see the 100 people die. But you want to lay down your weapon. Just go ahead, do that. Because I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd take the shot. I don't care. I'll say it right out. I'd take the shot. Okay? Because the point being, you either take the shot or 100 people dies. What's your choice? That's exactly the scenario in Israel right now. Firing rockets from underneath hospitals. That's what Hamas is doing. Not the residents of Gaza, not everybody else. No, that's what Hamas is doing. Okay? Hamas doing that. The terrorists are doing that. They're killing civilians in Israel. That's what they want to do. That's their targets. Their targets are not Israeli military bases. That's not reality. Their targets are residential buildings in Israel. So what do? As a leader, you realize that you could probably shoot some of those missiles down, but what if you miss one of them? What if that rocket that was supposed to take that rocket misfunctions? It's technology. It misfunctions, right? In fact, today alone, an air defense missile malfunctioned. Now, luckily enough, there was enough rockets that you could take out those missiles. But what if that rocket? What if there wasn't? That rocket goes into a residential building, kills kids. It kills an elderly person. It kills a pregnant woman. Now that's a mod scenario right there. But what if you shoot a rocket? What if you take out the terrorists? Right? Does that further your cost? Yeah, it does, because that means that then in the future, those pregnant women, that child will have a life. The pregnant woman, the child with the child inside the woman, that's how you put it, will have a life. So that's how I see it. You might see it from a different perspective. I can respect your perspective. I just can't respect the fact that you think that there's no other choice. That there is other choices. There is no other choice for Israel. That's the point of view you have to put in your mind. Well, it's tough, okay? Well, it's gonna eat you up. Okay, there ain't nothing sweet about it. Not anymore. Ain't nothing sweet about it. Just death. A lot of fucking death. You can choose to ignore it, and I won't have any problems with you if you choose to ignore it. It's fine with me. I don't care. You have to live your life. I respect that. I'm not gonna dish you up because you live your life, but it's the same point of view, right?
Nå, så afbryder El Diablo der lige med en reklame, hva'?
Goddamn. But, anyways, moving on. Images has been released by the Israeli... Where's hell? Images has been released by the Israeli Defense Force showing combat operations in the northwest Gaza Strip over the last 24 hours or so. In the main photos, you can see multiple Merkava Mark 3 and 4 main battle tanks, namer heavy armored personnel carriers, Puma armored engineering vehicles, Caterpillar D9 armored bulldozers, and even at least one Etan armored fighting vehicle, which has only been seen rarely since the war began. There's the pictures for you right here. Thought I'd share this right here for you. Pretty high quality pictures. Somebody definitely brought their good camera. You see a bunch of those tanks right there. Now the good thing about this picture here, and what you can see about it, is the reality of the invasion here, and just how they're able to now step out their tanks. They're able to, well, operate. They're able to take their time with things. You can see that picture right there. I think that's the vehicle that we're talking about, which is rarely seen. But yeah, that was seen today, and it was posted big about it. Right behind a massive explosion. But it does appear that the resistance of Hamas is becoming gradually less and less because, well, right now they're just standing outside their tanks. They're watching it unfold. They're standing still with their tanks, which in most times, if you're in Russia right now, you're a Russian soldier. You can't stand still with your fucking, sorry, there's more pictures. I don't know why. Sorry. You can't stand still anymore with your tanks because you're going to get shot down by Ukrainian. But both vice versa, right? Well, Ukraine can usually sit still with their tanks, but, you know. By the way, that's how you do it, Russia. That's how you do it. That's a steel cage right there. That's how you prevent something from attacking your turret. That's how you do it. You don't put some thin fucking wire nest, you know? Millions of errors in this woman. It's true, Richie. It's true. And weapons as well. Cool weapons. Showing off right there. Oh, we got more pictures right here as well. That's the tanks operating. Don't look at these pictures over here. It's rough. Is it? Look at. Is it a missile barrack pig? Or is that? Oh, look at. There's one of those. Oh, it's got a tank. Hey, this tank is fucking decked out. Holy shit! It's got all kinds of full bullshit on it. The whole missile barrage in the fucking back. Oh shit! There you have it. This is the standard suit, by the way, and they're wearing these capsules right here. I like it. I like the Israeli military suit. They're pretty cool. Much of them are. So, there you have it. Okay. Yeah. Iraq militias moving forces towards Jordan in efforts to reach Israel border. It was actually something that came out here. So Iraq is moving militias forces towards Jordan in effort to reach Israel border. That the Chaos 1987 reports, pretty trustable sources came out with it. However, Jordan say they will not allow it. That's actually something interesting there, that the fact that these Iraq militias... Now, you point out here that I did say that I don't think the countries itself are going to go to war. I did say that. I don't think they're going to go to war. I think militias inside the countries, that's one thing I said. I set the axis. I said the militias could go to war. I didn't say the countries itself. The regional war would be a regional war between the militias and the terrorists. The terrorists that would fight against Israel. However, I don't think the countries are the recognized countries, the actual official governments would actually intervene in the wars itself. The only actual government that's in a war right now is Israel. So, yeah. But Jordan says it will not allow it. So that's an interesting development right there. Not a lot of things happening at that point right now. I don't think they're there yet. If anything happens, it's going to keep you monitored on that. But, you know, what could something erupt from that? I don't know. But, yeah. We've got some points here reported by Flash. I thought I'd give you that, just to give you an overall if you missed anything. The United States, by the way. Oh, yeah, by the way. Russia plans to expand military presence in eastern Libya, Bloomberg's reports. And that was concerns to the United States. I think those presence of forces, they say they're gonna increase presence of forces. Most of those will probably be Wagner forces, I could imagine. I don't think they would spend any additional military sources and people who, you know, who could fight on Ukraine. But if that's their plan, that's their plan. This week, for the first time in history, Israel shot down a ballistic missile launched by Yemen outside the Earth atmosphere. The Telegram reports this. I read that earlier, of course. The damage to Italy from natural disaster this year has exceeded 3 billion euros. Yeah, and another point I want to point out to you, as we're on this topic right here. For the last 30 days, now I've got an article that's in Danish, but I'll translate it for you because that's how nice I am. You have 130 days in a row. More factors can explain the globe's heat waves. Global warming, you can see that, and El Nino is the driving factors behind the Earth's heat waves. But maybe ships, I think that's the best way I can say it, ships or a volcano also, yes, rough translation there. I don't know why I had some trouble translating that, but kind of like, yeah, because you have to put it in whatever. But you have the pictures of it here. You can see the green, the cold areas, obviously the cold areas here, but you can see, you know, definitely Denmark also hotter. Now, right now, we're pretty much in a very hot area. I'd say we're very much in a cold area, but you can definitely see Italy has been heavily affected by this heat wave. One thing I find very funny, very extremely funny, I think, is when you look up towards Russia. Just that Siberia right there. That's the north right there. You look how the heat waves in the north of Russia, which is pretty much an icy area. Well, not icy. It's not covered by ice, but it's pretty cold usually. It has a pretty cold climate. That island up there, you know, that's close to the North Pole right there for you. So that's not, you know, that's not supposed to be very hot. I hear explosions in the background right now. Greenland as well, which is literally covered by ice, just experiencing heat waves. And the funny thing is, look at the Middle East compared to Europe. You know, it's like the Middle East, which is an area you expect it to be much, much colder. Sorry, much, much hotter. That area right there is much, much colder. You know, it's like, yeah. That right there for me is a thing, and I was. I've spoken about this way back. If you were here with the start of my stream, I don't know if you were, but way back I spoke about the factor that I believe, what I've seen, is that the factor that the Earth is going to get a lot warmer, and then it's going to start to get a lot colder. That's the opposite effect of what you might think global warming does, but it does trigger a cold. That's not a point of view, but I spoke about this. I spoke about this almost a year ago. Sometimes people said, maybe that's, are you sure about that? But you have the first evidence now. So, I'm always right. No, that's... Hamas is using hospitals to hide military operations. Israel Defense Force spokesman Daniel Haggerty said at a briefing. So again, they're using hospitals '80s again. Yeah. I'll tell you before, I'll tell you again. But Hamas is using hospitals to hide military operations, Israel Defense Force spokesman Daniel Haggerty said at a briefing. Yeah, so there you have it. The Israeli defense minister called for the people of Gaza to find and take out Yahya Sinwar. That's his name. Yahya Sinwar. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's how I say it. The leader of Hamas. We will find and take out Yahya Sinwar. I call on the Gaza population. If you take him out before we do, it will shorten the war. So they're calling on a population to pick up a gun and start killing. Yeah, don't do that. But I don't know why he said that. I think Israel's had a very weird week with their jiu-jitsu, but that's whatever. Obama spoke here. I want to give it to that. Obama speaks about Gaza. What Hamas did was horrific, and there's no justification for it. And what is also true is that the occupation and what's happening to Palestine is unbearable. So I thought I'd give you the news here from your former president. He's spoken out of that, and he still has some power in the U.S. That's why I wanted to give it to you, so you heard his speech. 3 minutes, which will give me a little bit of time to rest the voice. Wanted to give you that. So if you don't want to watch Obama, you can come back in 3 minutes. But we're just going to watch this real quick, and we will go on 3 minutes and 15 seconds. So we'll play from the back here.
If there's any chance of us being able to act constructively to do something, it will require an admission of complexity and maintaining what on the surface may seem contradictory ideas. That what Hamas did was horrific and there's no justification for it. And what is also true is that the occupation and what's happening to Palestinians is unbearable. And what is also true is that there is a history of the Jewish people that may be dismissed unless your grandparents or your great-grandparents or your uncle or your aunt tell you stories about the madness of anti-Semitism. And what is true is that there are people right now who are dying who have nothing to do with what Hamas did. And what is true, right? I mean, we can go on for a while. And the problem with the social media and trying to TikTok activism and trying to debate this on that is you can't speak the truth. You can pretend to speak the truth. You can speak one side of the truth. And in some cases, you can try to maintain your moral innocence, but that won't solve the problem. And so if you want to solve the problem, then you have to take in the whole truth. And you then have to admit nobody's hands are clean, that all of us are complicit to some degree. I look at this and I think back, what could I have done during my presidency to move this forward as hard as I tried? I've got the scars to prove it. But there's a part of me that's still saying, well, was there something else I could have done? That's the conversation we should be having. not just looking backwards, but looking forward. And that can't happen if we are confining ourselves to our outrage. I would rather see you out there talking to people, including people who you disagree with. If you genuinely want to change this, then you've got to figure out how to speak to somebody on the other side and listen to them and understand what they are talking about and not dismiss it. Because you can't save that child without their help. Not in this situation.
Now, I realize some of you might not have some consensus about Obama, but I've always found that I think he's a great speaker. Now, there's always a difference between being a great speaker and then speaking, you know, the truth. And I think he did. I mean, listen. I mean, there's two sides to this. There's always two sides to it. It goes back to what I keep saying. It ain't about the population. It ain't about the residents. It's ain't about the people that are simply trying to live their lives. It's about those stupid. It's about those stupid terrorists who keep ruining for everybody else, right? The terrorists will continue to ruin lives for everybody else. And I think that's true. I think that's pretty true. So yeah. I just noticed something which I thought was pretty funny. That camera right there is not live from now. Don't know why that's happening. It's funny because 0611, that's now, and it's 125. That one right there says 1106 0251, which is there. What's that? Why is that there? That's not the right time. You don't even knows that. Sorry, I just noticed that 1 second. I will tell him, just to be, or her. I will tell him or her that it's not live. See what the response are. Anyways. They're not spawning yet. Hopefully one of the mods see it. I don't know.
Nå, så afbryder El Diablo der lige med en reklame, hva'?
Well, I mean, it's just, yeah. I like to keep it live. You know, I think he may have just missed up the dates. I don't know. I don't know, it doesn't matter. We'll keep moving. Well, the difference between the 2.5 million Palestinians and the 30,000 terrorists is the factor of who has guns. You know? And who has the willingness to, you know. Gonna run against Obama? Or Biden? Well, it does appear that she wants to run. I've heard some stories about the fact that she may wants to run. But that is up to her. I've heard some rumors about it. Don't know if she's gonna. I mean, she's obviously gonna be Republican then. That's what I know of. So, yep. An American strike group led by Sorry. Led by the aircraft carrier USS Dwight D. Eisenhower has arrived in the Middle East. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin announced the move October 15 as part of effort to deter hostile actions against Israel or any efforts towards widening this war following Hamas attack on Israel. Read that earlier as well. There's other strike groups that are there as well. They haven't really talked about. Oh, they have. Nah, he's giving a thumbs up right now. And due to power failures and other issues, some cameras' time is not in sync. Ah, roger that. Okay, so you're saying that it is live, but apparently it's not in sync. Apparently, maybe it's because it went off. Maybe that camera went off doing a time when there was power outage and only came on now or something like that. It does look like a new camera, so it could be why. But these guys are live. 0611. That's today. So yeah. Hezbollah confirmed 61 deaths. Now I want to talk about this because Hezbollah, who are not Hezbollah, who is not in the war, people are stating that how long does it take, how many deaths and how many will they sustain or will they tolerate before actively committing, full frontal forces. Right now, they are attacking Israel. That's what is happening. And Lebanon started it, by the way. So, But, we'll look that into as well. Explosions seen over northwestern Saudi Arabia near the Red Sea following reports of a missile interception by Saudi Arabia air defense batteries near the border with Jordan. What I find very intriguing is the factor of just how they yell a lot. It's just how close those U.S. airstrike troops, aircrafts and airstrikes, aircrafts carriers are going to be to these ballistic missiles. You see the starts there, I think. You see that was one right there. I think maybe it comes up again. And the next is just a bunch of, well, I mean, it's nothing, but yeah, the next of it is really nothing, but happens. Apparently got him intercepted. It's the only video you really had of it, but we'll have to, of course, keep that eye on that. Syrian rebels are starting operations against Assad and Hezbollah for their comrades in Gaza. So I don't know if these guys are... I have migraine 24/7. Well, it's a different world. That's how they speak there. Something like that. So this is, I don't know what this was, but it says the Syrian rebels are starting operations against Assad and Hezbollah for their comrades in Gaza. If they're starting against Hezbollah, well, that means they're on Israel's side. They must be. I mean, Look at that guy back there. Am I getting on here? Am I getting on here? No, okay. There you have it. I mean, that's, so apparently they are on Israel's side, so that means Israel's not alone. I didn't know this. The Syrian rebels. So I guess it's rebels inside Syria that isn't agreeing with what the Syrian government is doing. Or they could have spelled it wrong. I don't know. Certainly does seem something, right? The Al Ashir University in Gaza has been completely destroyed. Unfortunately, not even a university could effectively combat Middle Eastern theoretical culture. Yeah. That's the reality of that war right there. It's a massive explosion in the background there, as you can see. When a university got completely ruined. I don't think there was anybody in the university at the time. I wouldn't imagine. Those schools have probably been closed, so I could imagine I couldn't imagine that there would be. Now, this is obviously Israel strikes. I'd imagine. But why they did it, I'm not aware. It does appear to me that Hamas may have been conducting terror operations within the university itself. And the reason why they conduct operations, a military operation, run areas like that from such areas is because of the reality that they want to keep. They want to keep that narrative in that, well, that's what we are, you know. We are people who play on your consciousness to make you think Israel is targeting innocent people. Meanwhile, we're actually in this university planning operations against the Israeli forces. That's exactly what they'll have you believe. They'll have you try to believe. Gotta keep an eye on it, because that is reality there for you. Weapons cache? Well, there you go, would you? That's probably true then, right? And there you go. Syrian foreign minister... Oh, no. I don't know where I heard it. Fair enough. Well, it's probably something. Syrian foreign minister reacts to allegations of unauthorized weapons possession by Israel. A source within the Syrian foreign ministry has commented on recent statements suggesting that they confirm Israel's possession of weapons outside international control system. The source views the statement made by a member of the Israeli establishment regarding an alleged attack on Gaza with an atomic weapon as evidence of state terrorism. So, for some reason... By the way, that sentence right there, some people, when they make news, speak like they're fucking professors, okay? They're like, they used a A86 AK-48 A9 to logisticate the outer rim system for the outside of the outer cage system when they had the coordinates of 88.86. Dude, slow the fuck down. The reason why I had that quote right there, I didn't want to give a shit about it. I just want to point that out to some people. Hey, slow the fuck down, okay? Normal people with normal brains, right? They're not going to be able to... I'm not even me. I couldn't... You know, I couldn't understand shit what this guy's trying to say. Just do what Trump does. And speak in a common language. Speak in a language we all can understand. Because not everybody understands gibberish. Okay? So just, you know, maybe simplify your tweets sometimes. I think that's what I want to know sometimes, because most media is simplified. You know, if the media came out with such a statement right there, everybody would go, what the fuck are you even talking about? You know? I'm just saying. The Israel military has completed the surrounding in the Gaza Strip. It is divided into north and southern parts as humanitarian corridor remains open, allowing residents of the northern areas to move to the south. So they continue, even though there's still a war, they continue to allow residents as well. Oh, wait. Rage reporter who literally hides between Gaza and Israel. Yeah. Yeah, it is. I don't really know. These are howitzer systems, by the way. This is the Israelis firing off their house. So, the reason why I want to show you that video as well is to explain something for you. Something that's also important to note right now. The Israelis are not stuck. If you see the map stopping, they're not stopping. The Israelis are slowing down their advance into the city itself. What they want to do is, I believe, level the fucking city, or at least, you know, get out as many terrorists, take out as many terrorists as they want on a distance, not allowing any terrorists to come through, not allow any military aid to come in. They're obviously still trying, I believe, to somewhat conduct small raids and special operations to take out terrorists within the city itself. However, the forward advancements of the army itself will probably come to a smaller standstill. Maybe they still will move along the coast. That's something we are watching. They may still try to move along the coast, I don't know. But as far as I know right now, what they're doing right now is setting up artillery positions, getting everybody in, because they've done quite a fast sort of route. What they're doing right now is trying to get everybody into places, you know, trying to set up an actual corridor that they can hold, trying to actually make an area that they can, you know, then move into artillery systems so they can bombard from the area. Stuff like that, which really helps your advantages. You know, standing still, make sure everything came up, make sure everything is in range, make sure. So all that kind of stuff right there for you.
Det her, nye performance pants. De får sin masse forskellige farver, og så er prisen kun.
Christ. And that's where we are right now. Earlier today, you might have seen on the UA Live when there was a symbol of a Wi-Fi with a disrupting symbol. Yeah, partial communication reported that cell service and internet to Gaza Strip has once again been disrupted tonight with a total outage currently in places across the Gaza Strip. So, internet has been cut again in Gaza. Could be because they're launching so many attacks right now, or they realized that something happened. They shut out a cell tower. It could be anything, really. I don't know why they did it. Could be. Okay. Well, that's it I got on Israeli news. We'll move on to that a little bit later when we get on with everything else. But first, we'll get on with some Ukrainian news, because we will not forget about Ukraine. We will sit here and we will talk about some Ukrainian news. There's stuff obviously happens in Ukraine as well. Mariupol area Bovana, somewhere between Novosibirsk and Sidorov near Mariupol, the deep rear of Ukraine. It's reported that a large Russian ammunition warehouse and reportedly some helicopters are on fire in that area near Mariupol. Here you have it. This is reported from today. Here you have it. Oh, sorry, I'm on a big screen right there, but it started off quite smaller there, and then they said, look at it, they're now filming, and all of a sudden, because there's probably some ammunition that cooked off. Look at that. Oh, that one came big. And then moving on here. More. Some film the second explosions, but you can kind of hear the ammunition keep going off, right? Kind of like fireworks. You can hear the ammunition keeps going off because they're being ignited. That's the thing about when you target these warehouses. There's bullets. If there's anything, you know, grenades, anything small, munitions, explosives, all that stuff, they'll keep going off because they're obviously being lit. You know, they're being lit up because you fire on it, they destroyed it. Shells, everything like that, they're usually in crates, and when the fire breaks through the crates, it ignites that shell. It usually ignite everything else, and that's what you see in the end there. That's when it completely fired off because it probably some shells or some big munitions, maybe some rockets that was kept there, exploded because the fire reached it. So that's the after effect. That's why usually you can set off a warehouse. If you were to fly a drone into a weapons area and you were to hit a rocket that was stored there or something like that, you do that, you could set off the whole warehouse, you know, only with a drone, and destroy many thousands of rounds and bullets and everything. So that's the dangerous part of having those unprotected and very, very unprotected weapons storehouses, which Russians have. Many of them are not properly secured and stuff like that. Probably have some old hinges and are not properly stored. So that's what happens right there for you. And it is a great day for the Ukrainians and a bad day for the Russians. Like usual, you know? Explosions are heard in the village of Sidovo in the temporarily occupied Donetsk region from local videos. Oh, did I just get the same video here? Oh no, that's the same thing. Sorry. No, they filmed it on a... Sorry, it's because I had a second video about it where they filmed it from an area around. Look at the light goes off right there. Look at the light that went off. That's what I'm talking about, all those munitions, and when they keep firing off like bullets or shells or grenades or something like that. Like a boom, 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 boom. Oh, explosion right there. Yeah. And some people, I'm going to point this out, some people on Twitter came out and said that this was filmed near the set MPP and kept saying that it might have been the nuclear. Oh, hello. More explosions there. That it might have been a nuclear power plant, the nuclear power plant, the set MPP that was blown up. Came out by some sources that I thought was relatively trustable, but then I realized that when I just saw them talking about it and saying that that was in the Russian occupied, they said it was near it, that they experienced a blackout and they blah blah blah. I did look into it. It did show up that some Ukrainians, that some Russian propaganda did come out. That, for example, a Russian propaganda here, the Ukrainian armed forces continue to attack the drones against the town of Inagorda with the personnel of ZMP and their family members live. They target primarily apartment buildings. The last attack took place at 10:30 a.m. on November 4th. In the new information circle, Russia informed the IAEA about the situation on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, ZMP. As of October 23rd, 2023, 7 aerial vehicles launched by Ukraine aimed at attacks of provocation against the ZMP were detected and suppressed. Not only is this followed by heavy bombs, flares over there. Not only is this a lie, they did not attack the ZMP. Anybody who's attacked the ZMP or done anything to the ZMP is the Russians. So don't believe that bullshit. It is completely and utterly untrue, and I will not endorse it. So it's not true. There's nothing happened to the. I don't believe that anything happened to the nuclear warehouse or the nuclear power plant. People kept saying it. People said there were blackout. People said it blow up and all that kind of stuff. And or people at least said there was an explosion in the area. It's in Zaporizhzhia. That explosion you saw on the camera right there was reported by Flash to be in Donetsk. If there's anybody I trust when it comes to news, it's Flash. So, yeah. So a pretty funny clip came out today, and I want to show it. Well, it's not funny. I think it's serious, but it's also a bit funny. Because there was a moment in it when it was a bit funny, but I want to show you to you. Vladimir Zelensky, in an interview with NBC, called Putin a fucking terrorist. War takes the best of us, the best heroes, men, women, and children, but Ukraine is not ready to give up its freedom to this damn terrorist, Putin. That's it. That's why we're fighting, the president said. And he did it with a quite vigorous voice. You know what I find ridiculous about the fact that they keep holding these news reels right here? Do you think you can keep fighting? Do you think... Shut the fuck up. Just keep sending... But here we have it. Anyways, we're going to watch it, right?
President Zelensky, thank you so much. Before you go, if you want to share, what keeps you going?
He's very
Do
angry.
you ever feel defeated?
I have a lot of power, but even feeling strong and have a lot of energy, it doesn't mean that we want to fight all our life, because the price is high, like I said, because the war takes the best of us, the best heroes, the best men, women, children. That's it. But we are not ready to give our freedom to this terrorist Putin. That's it. That's why we are fighting. That's it.
President Zelensky, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
He looked so surprised with himself at the end there. He's like, did I just say that? Like, did I mean to say that? I think I did. I think it's honestly deep down I meant to say that. Maybe I didn't mean to see it on national TV, but I meant to say that. I meant it. He meant it. But it just came out. I think it came out from it, and it's a strong statement right there, and it certainly is, and it's a good statement right there for you. But it came out like that. I think you can't hear me. Oh, mic drop. Like okay. I thought you said my mic dropped. I was like, oh shit, you can't hear me. I was like, oh shit, but no, yeah. And yeah, he looks a little bit surprised with himself there, but I think it was a true statement right there. Go fuck yourself, Putin. It's, I think, our statement. My statement is, you can go fuck yourself. Take one of your S-400 and shove it up there. And I say that's the main point of view right there, you know. But more from Vladimir Zelensky here. Some reading material here, not video here. Vladimir Zelensky urges U.S. Congress to maintain military aid to Ukraine or risk more war and losses, Bloomberg reported. If Russia kills all of us, it will attack NATO countries and you will send your sons and daughters there. It will be sorry, and it will be sorry. But the price will be higher, the president said. At the same time, according to the president, Ukraine is considering changing its strategy in the war. Its military is coming up with various plans and operations to move forward faster and deliver surprise attacks against Russia. And I said that I thought that the best possible plan for that's what's supposed to be back there as well, for a further development. Now I'm aware sitting here in your room talking about it, saying, and then people are always going like, oh yeah, don't do that, you know, that's not up to you and all that, so we don't have to. That's true. That's exactly, and that's what he's saying. Listen, you'll send your sons and daughters. You said it yourself, Witchy. Your sons would sign up. That's your sons and daughters. That's your sons. Myself, I'd sign up. I'd defend my country. I'd be on the front lines, 100%. But in the ideas of war here, we could avoid that. But it does come at a great loss. It comes at a great loss of Ukrainian lives. And the fact that Ukraine has to explain the fact that they need to exist. It's like, you have to explain to everybody every single day why you want to exist and why you have the right to exist. Such fucking bullshit. What the fuck happened to the fucking West? What the fuck happened to us? Before then, we would have said, you know, fuck you, Putin. Fuck you, Soviet. You know, we'll continue to deliver to Ukraine as long as we fucking need to. Go fuck yourself. You know, back then we'd done that, but nowadays we're like, oh, can we deliver? You know, what if we lose a little bit of money? What if we lose money? You know, what happens to us? What happens? You know, it's like, war will come. Okay, you think you have it tough? You know, you think you have it tough? These people who are complaining that the factor of the Ukrainian war causing them to lose money or to...
Nå, så afbryder El Diablo der lige med en reklame, hva'?
Fuck yourself, you fucking El Diablo, you fucking piece of shit. So, sorry, that's very aggressive. I just hate, he's come up 4 times now. But yeah, the point being here, you think you have it tough now, okay? You think that you have it tough now without being in war. How the fuck do you think it's gonna be when we are at war? Do you think it's gonna be a fucking cakewalk? You fucking pussy. Do you think it's gonna be a fucking cakewalk? Do you think it's gonna be like oh, when we're not at war, when we're not sending things to Ukraine, well, then we're probably gonna have it easier. No, because when Russia wins that war, it'll spend some time regaining its strength, 100%. Not only will it then have access to Western weapons, which will happen eventually, then it will start regaining with Western weapons, then it'll be an even stronger army, then it will regain its strength, it will regain, and eventually it will attack us. Eventually, then it's going to join up with Belarus, and then it will have a quarter, and it's going to attack the Baltic states eventually. It's going to do that, but then it's going to have re-aggravated, re-strengthened itself, and done much, much more. It has endless resources. Russia has a lot of fucking resources, okay? We take sanctions off. You think it's going to be easier? I don't think so, okay? So it's either we fight now, or in 10 years when Ukraine's fallen and Russia's rebuilt, or less than time than that, we'll be at the front lines. We'll be in World War III, okay? So there you have it. That's my point of view from it. Sorry it's a bit aggressive, but I think it's very true. God damn it. Okay. Anyways, I think we'll move on to some a little bit more positive news here. A very natural phenomenon, Northern Light aurora, I can't read that, can be observed in the Ukrainian sky this evening. So in today's Ukrainian sky, I have a second picture I thought was pretty cool, but I have these first pictures here. Check this out right here. This happened in Ukraine today. Some pretty cool pictures over the skies of Ukraine. Look at that right there. But actually, it was actually this picture I wanted to show you, but I'll show it. I'll show it now. The Ukrainian soldiers right here. This happened over in Ukraine today. You can see the sky turned red. Actually, some astronomers have actually stated that this shouldn't happen in Ukraine. And also, they've also said that it could be because of the simple factor of so many Russian soldiers who's been blown so far up into, you know, the atmosphere and then exploded that it simply caused the sky to be red. It could have been, they actually said that it could have been because of all the Russian blood. No, it's ridiculous. Destruction of the occupiers, 110 separate territorial defense brigade. Oh, look at that. I've got a video here for you. I think we'll watch this. It's this video. Oh, sorry. Sometimes it does that. But a video here where they show, but don't worry, you're not going to see the close-up of it, but it's they're pretty far away. They zoom in on it. They find the brigade. They see them shooting at the enemy right there. That's them. That's the Russians right there. We have it. Launching grenades at the ground. Launching at the Ukrainians. I don't know. They actually keep music on. Destruction. They keep hiding in these small woodlands right here, thinking this is where they're going to be surviving. Oh, no, buddy. You're not going to be surviving any longer, because the Ukrainians are coming, buddy. This is absolute fucking barrack of destruction right there. Even a shell that lands out here, that shrapnel for that shell would 100% launch inwards. You can see where it launched at. You can see the ground burnt right in front of it. Yeah, that one's hit right straight on right there. Look at the ground, by the way. I mean, look at the ground. Just take a look in here. I always stop. I'm sorry that I take a stopping here, but that's the ground of Ukraine right there. Just look at the scale of the war in Ukraine, of this small... It's Ramstein. I don't know if it's gonna get... Maybe I'm gonna get copyrighted. I don't know. If anything, it's just because then I'll just have to cut the clip out. So, you know, whatever. But I mean, every scale image right there. So every area. That's just a small area. Less than... Looks like the moon, yeah. The area in less than a kilometer long, right? This less than a kilometer here has maybe 1,000 potholes. Oh, it's ramp? Yeah, it's Ramstein. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. 2 minutes of just pure destruction. They kept just doing it. I don't know if they probably have troops on the ground telling them they're still alive. Oh, there they are. Oh yeah, but they don't look too good because they're carrying the dead guys. I think, I guess. They're wounded, maybe. Probably wounded. I mean, why else would they carry them? You know, the Russians don't carry dead people back. They carry wounded people back. Because then there's still a chance they can fight. Never carry dead people back. They don't do that. They leave them. I think there's more explosions coming in. Not? Oh, come on. Oh, one more. Oh, one more. Sorry. Sir, are you sure they're dead? Yeah, sure, they look pretty dead. No, they're not dead yet, son. Sir, but they look pretty dead. You know, they're not even together anymore. They're pretty much disseminated. You know, they don't exist anymore. No, son, trust me. These motherfuckers, they're not dead yet. Drop one more shell on them. Actually, drop 10 shells. Sir, they're gone. Trust me. We gotta destroy every bit of them. But sir, do we have enough shells for that? We always have enough shells. Okay, so Raybar just confirmed the news about the successful Ukrainian counterattack on the northern flank of Krasnohivka, which was mentioned yesterday by some Ukrainian sources mentioned on the last... Oh, sorry. Here is the part of Rebai's system very likely referring to the area between Krasnohivka and Novy Kalinov In the Andiviska sector, Ukrainian formation managed to counterattack on the north flank. The enemy recaptured part of the railway tracks near Krasnovika and pushed back the Russian armed forces. This is from Deep State here. Well, no, maybe. No, it's not Deep State, sorry. But you can definitely see that this area right here is taken back. We'll probably get to see that on Deep State today, maybe. Maybe take that out after. Now, but I was talking about something before I cut it off there. But my point of view when it comes to what changes Ukraine could make. I'm not a military expert, I certainly am not. However, I do think launching a gradual, slow but gradual D-Day of Crimea could be an actual military fight. Again, I'm not a military expert, but however, I do believe that a launching of a gradual, smaller form of D-Day, landing on the beaches of Crimea, is an area that is defended but very small defended, you know. If you do a beachhead landing, which is setting forces there, which by the way they have done before, securing the area, and then launch massive attacks, right? Launch a group of no more than maybe 500 soldiers, or a gradual big amount. Now the losses they could come along with that, it's very risky, I'd say that. However, if that area, which is thought to be very under defended, because, well, the Russians, they don't really keep troops back there. They keep troops back there, but it's simply not that defended. They have a lot of naval bases there, but they don't have the massive amount of soldiers there. They have air defense systems, that's pretty much it. Guessing a number, maybe a total of 10,000, maybe not more. However, if you are to make a successful landing on a D-Day point of view, right, on a Crimean beach, that not only, I believe, could draw back some of the Russians who are stationed here, who then would try and get back not only in the Kherson area, but they would have definitely under-defend some areas that desperately need defense, you know, especially around here where they've got the most amount of numbers, where Ukrainians are pounding on the doors, right? Around Kherson, where they're trying to pound on the doors. These guys are trying to make a counter-attack right here. The Khersons, you know, they wouldn't try to reroute those sources. Of course, they couldn't because Ukraine is pushing right here. You know, they've already done it. They're pretty much already done a D-Day landing. Now, this is on a bigger scale. Yes. However, I mean, maybe what they're doing, maybe they could do it one day. I don't know. But if successful, it starts Tuesday. Swedish state television reports. Okay, next starts on Tuesday. Well, we'll probably get that later. All right. Well, thank you. We'll have to keep an eye on that Tuesday. So this Tuesday, right? So in 2 days. Okay. Full-scale invasion yet? Maybe? I don't know. Could be. But yeah, I still believe that. I still believe launching a raid, taking an area, then, you know, especially an area maybe out here, which, well, maybe where it's less defended, or over here, or something like that. Launching smaller sources, trying to cut off here, or trying to do something like that. I mean, it takes a lot of naval power to launch D-Day. D-Day took a lot of naval power, but this is on a much smaller scale. Can they commit the forces to it? I don't know. Could it work? It could be a serious military idea. I think it could be. But I'm not a military expert, and I'm not going to sit here and say that that's something they're going to do. However, looking at a military standpoint of view, if you were to distract the enemy from another front, to draw away the attention from the front, well, then you couldn't, you know, that then being a pain in their ass, literally being behind them, would be a serious military idea that could work.
Nå,
oh my
så
God.
afbryder El Diablo der lige med en reklame, hva'?
But that's just me talking about it. I'm just speaking deeply here, speaking my mind here. But I think committing serious forces to Kherson is a likely thing they're gonna do. That could be something. The successful counter-battery fighting continues. Warriors destroyed 2 enemies, 2 C-17 Pier artillery system, BM-22 Grad artillery system, and 2 C-19 Mesta C self-propelled howitzer. Here you have it. This is a video. The more Ramstein. I don't know. That's something else. Heavy metal. I'm gonna have El Diablo in there, yeah. Destruction! Zelensky. We don't have... Okay, so Zelensky came out with a statement here. This is directly from Zelensky. So this is one of the things that are our main concern. A concern that's been a concern for a lot of people, especially me, for quite a long time. So Zelensky said that we don't have enough air defense, so Russia controls the sky. That will happen when we have enough air defense. Our troops will go. No, they will run forward, and it will counter-offense will go faster, because we can't use our people as meat as Russia do. Yeah, and that's true. And I think one of the things that can do that, one of the things that will change the narrative on the front of Ukraine is the F-16. The F-16 will 100% change the narrative on the front. They're getting 100 of them, 100 F-16s in a army of Western trained, you know, pilots will be a deadly force of these are not only just, by the way, these are not only just Ukrainian soldiers that have been fighting in and just, you know, that have been flying planes and just got into flying planes. These are soldiers that used to fly the Ukrainian planes. Okay, so they've been flying planes for a long time. Now they're on F-16s. So not only are they experienced, but they're Westernly trained now. And they're in a system that's so much more modern than anything the Russians could have at anywhere. The Su-25 is not a combat match to the F-16. So I seriously think can't win a war without air superiority. Now, well, no, you can't. That's true. It's just I was mentioning the fact of that by like D-Day and all that, but it doesn't matter. You can't win a war without air superiority, and that's true. You simply can't, because whoever controls the skies is whoever has the most control on the ground, because it means that you won't be completely bombarded by every single step you take. There's another soldier bombarding you. Every single movement you have, there's another soldier that's bombarding you. Every single blah blah blah, but all that, you know, all that stuff right there. All that means that you won't be continuously feeling like you're about to die because the sky over you is not yours. That will happen eventually, but we need F-16s. We listen. We had the F-16s in Ukraine by now. This war would have gotten a lot fucking faster. As soon as we get those F-16s, I'm gonna see. Yeah, without meat grinding me. But that's true, because D-Day was a meat grind, but that's a whole total point. I don't know. It's just me. I don't know why I'm saying that. Sometimes I too. Shut the fuck up. That's to myself, by the way. I should tell myself to shut the fuck up for a second. Okay. Yeah, sorry. No, but yeah, it's true. F-16s will change the ground operations, and they will do it soon. Don't mark my words. Ukraine damages Russian cruiser. By the way, again, today, a Russian cruiser called Ascot in Crimea. Satellite images published on November 5th shows the Ukrainian attacks on Crimea on November 4th damaged the Russian cruise missile carrier Aztok Navy Captain Andrea Resnuknukov told RAE investigation program schemes. So, another Russian cruiser, not a cruise missile, but a ship called Askald, was apparently damaged. Maybe, I don't know, beyond repair, but I think it is out of action. Well, when you're damaged, you're probably out of action for a little while. And it looks like one of the more modern ones as well. I don't have a picture of it, but I will get it probably soon. Well, maybe I have it. I don't know. Do I have it? Well, there's been a lot of them throughout the years, apparently. No, I think it's this one. Yeah, look at that. Ukraine hit modern Russian ship occupy. So it's a modern ship. It's actually a ship that's been launched very recently in the very short amount of years it's been in service. And it is a modern cruiser. You can definitely see it on it. And that one's been hit. That one right there. I believe that's probably it. And I ooh, hello. Big explosions back there. But I am just happy with that. I'm so happy. In Russian Akhkan, a warehouse near an oil depot is on fire, but judging by the unsuccessful attempt of the Russian to put out the fire, there's at least petrofuel products in the warehouse. Look at this. It is not a great day for the Russians. When is it? When is it a great day for the Russians? Do I think this is Ukrainian work? Don't know. It's pretty far out in Russia, but it certainly has a military purpose. That's why you might think it. Pardon my ash. Fair enough. But look at that Russian right there. It's just like, dude, like we're two people. Like we're not gonna do this. Just keep spraying, man. Just keep looking like you're doing something. Yeah, keep spraying on the roof, dude. Yeah, keep doing that. Yeah, that's gonna help it right there. Years ago to use communications users, it's gonna be a game changer. Well, that's already happening with Freddy. It's not happening, but it's happening. You know, it's like it's one of those things where it's not happening, but it's happening. You know. It's not happening, but, you know, it's happening. No, it's not happening. Don't worry. It's happening, but, you know, you get me. But, yeah, that's going to do something right there. That's a lot of... Yeah, you're definitely putting out the fire there, buddy. You're doing a great job right there. That's gonna do it for you right there. Look at that. Look at that. Definitely hitting the roof right there. Come on. So, yeah. And look at the hoses they're using as well. I mean, Jesus Christ, how old is Russia? Look at that hose right there. I'm not saying it can't use to spray water, but the hose looks old, doesn't it? Look at one of those really old hoses that you had in the 1960s. I mean, they work. It's just spewing out water. Not to point out anything, they probably work. But, you know, it's like, yeah. Another picture from it there. Was it oil depot? Near an oil depot is on fire. So the warehouse that may have contained oil, or at least petrol, of some refined source. The return of our soldiers, or guys and girls from captivity, is always a small victory and a big holiday for us. Despite the fatigue and terrible conditions of detention of prisoners by Russian fascists, in the eyes of our soldiers, joy for returning home. Oh shit, I keep forgetting. I keep calling them Russians. Why am I calling them Russians? Gotta get to call them commies. Spit more than that. Yeah. So the goddamn commies, which I keep forgetting, I gotta call them commies. That's my word for them. They've released some prisoners, as you can see here. Look at the state of these prisoners as well. Many of them looks very malnourished. I don't know that guy certainly, but look at how many of them look very malnourished. The Russians, the commies, keep remembering, they're returning home. How do you feel? How do you think I feel? Home. Yeah. You know, one of the worst things that the Russians still have control over is those prisoners. But, yeah. Absolute terrible. But, some are making it back. An Iron Dome interceptor is reported to have suffered a failure tonight, causing it to crash into the city of Rishon LeCheshishan, resulting in a small fire at the site. Oh shit, this is a... Oh, sorry guys. I think I put an Israeli video here in a Ukraine sector. I may have mixed them up. But I want to talk about this earlier as well. One of the things I was talking about, if you were here, I talked about it earlier. You know, the difference between what Russia has, what the Israel, if they don't shoot down these rockets, what can happen. And sometimes the Iron Dome system, even how perfect it is, may suffer malfunctions. That does appear to have caused a small kind of malfunction. It might have locked on to something that it didn't intend to log on to. Or it intercepted something that was trying to intercept something. And maybe it did so. We don't know. But you look at the flight pattern of it. You definitely see it's been swirling around up there. It certainly didn't have a look at that swirling around kind of thing. It probably looked like it malfunctioned or something, maybe. Did it cause a small fire in the area there, but maybe, hopefully, it didn't hit anything. Now, it's talked about any civilian casualties. A father will meet his son at hospital. The hero lost both his legs. I don't think they'll see this tweet, but I wanted to send love and prayers to them. Would you join me? Yeah, I would join you, because that's why I'm also doing. That's why I keep this right here. Russia sucks. Sucks monkey. Okay. That right. If anyone know how to reach the family, you can. Thank you to DM me. I would like to help them to best procedures. Right, yes, you. Right as you are. But you can see he lost his legs right there, and then the son comes to say hi to him. There you have it. Oh yeah, but it's just you know, saying that might not be such a clever statement, because I can't really endorse saying that, because it's not. You know, it's just it might be above the things that I would say. It's not something, you know. I just thought that you meant that they would suck. That's might just be a bit over the line there, but it's all right. We'll keep it off. I gotta keep the media, and usually I am not, but it's, you know, it's like something. Yeah, sorry, but yeah, gotta say it. You know, that's what it is. That's what it is. Zelensky, Ukraine's military considering new strategy to move forward. Ukraine is considering a shift in its military strategy to move forward faster and strike Russia unexpectedly. So one of the things he did say, right, was we're planning on a possibility to move forward to strike Russia unexpectedly. Oh damn. Now I will say, I did say the factor of launching a raid on the what's it called? It's Crimea, right? I did say that, and I thought, is it something? It sounds like a military idea. I don't know. Sometimes I can be wrong. Sometimes I'm not. But it's I don't think so. I mean, it's a very risky operation. It's a 1 in a million operation, because if anything goes wrong. However, we have seen a lot of air defenses, a lot of forces being targeted in Crimea, so I don't know. But could some kind of operation be launched there? I think a smaller operation, if anything, if they've taken an oil rig, they could possibly use the oil rig near the Crimean waters to take back Crimea. in a certain way, right? They could use that oil rig as a base of operations to kind of pull back troops, move them in, have maybe boats in that area, and then move them in if anything happens. Strike the Russians behind could be something that could be interesting. Keeping a lot of Russian soldiers, they have to make the tough choice of actually bringing in soldiers that would have to fight off the Russians down there, which would have to, fight off the Ukrainians down there, which would have to drag a lot of forces if the Ukrainians continue to send forces and continue to move into the area and make a lightning fast response into the area. However, as I said before, it would be without much logistical support and much of the support they may need. However, it would be a real thorn in the Russian back. So maybe, maybe not, but we'll have to see. An unsuccessful attempt by the enemy Arrow 10 surface-to-air missiles shoot down our fly-eye UAV in Donetsk region. So there was a trying of a Russians tried to shoot down a Ukrainian drone. Right? So it was right there. They're standing. That's one of the things about the Russians. What the fuck are you doing? Like, you're standing in the middle of fucking, like, middle of the field. That's where you decide that's where you want to be. They see it, they realize it, they realize it's there. Seen the drone. And they want to try and take it out, right? So it's pointing at him. You can see pointing at them. They got the Russian running out into the middle of the field to watch the rocket go up to see if anything happens. Notice how long it takes, though, because I really realized that it takes a long time. But oh, it goes off and immediately goes directly into the air and misses them. How the fuck? There's not. Listen, it's not like there's any other major elements in the area. Even spot anywhere else? No, they couldn't because it's Russians. But the funny thing is, it's like the system has nothing else in the area. What else is there in the area? But the missile malfunctions. There's one drone in the area, and it malfunctions and doesn't hit the drone. That is the one drone that's actually located in that area, is in there, right? And that's the shit quality of the fucking Russian equipment there for you. How the fuck does it miss at that range and at that sort of, you know, area? Because it's so exposed, it's so...
Nå, så afbryder El Diablo der lige med en reklame, hva?
Fucking Christ. So it's, you know, it's so fucking close to each other, right? And it's like any modern Western equipment, right, would have done that. Any modern equipment would have done that. Zelensky, we have to wait a long time for the F-16s due to training and so on, and air defense is faster solution to the issue. I spoke with Biden not to provide air defense but to manufacture it together. Our message to the world: give us air defense, rent it for winter. Yeah, let's rent it for the goddamn winter. Rent it, keep it. Bad maintenance of equipment. Yeah, I think it's the computer system inside is the one thing that fucked up, right? It might be the rockets, it might be anything, you know. Bleed, I should have stayed at home in swamps. What a Russian invader must think. Here you have it. Can you imagine the last thought of the Russian soldiers right before he gets blown to absolute bits? That must be the last thoughts. Bleed, I should have stayed at home. I should not be here. Why am I here? Look at me, I am on fire. Oh, that's not good. Oh, this is not good. Let me go home, please. Put in. Look at the turret fall down right there. That's the turret right there. Look at that. Comes down, explodes. Might have had a bullet in the air. It might have had something in the fucking bullet cache right there. Look at that. Boom. Bleed, I should have stayed at home. I should have stayed at home. This is why am I here? This is not good. Das bin nicht gut. Ah, that's German right there. I don't know why I did that. It's kind of like I like speaking German sometimes when it comes to military. Well, not for particular reasons. Yeah, okay, I'll be honest. For particular reasons, I like to do it. It's a fetish. Well, that sounds wrong. No, but listen. I want to tell you something about that T-90. And most of the Russian equipment, why it's so fucking stupid, right? So, let me search something up for you. I want to see if I can find a good picture of it. Here you have it. So, this is not the exact picture, of how that's not D9, but that one there could hold the storage area. But look at where the driver sits and the tank and the turret of the person who turns the turrets, the person who controls the turrets. That's where the driver sits, right? Autoloader, but this is not, this is like a modernized version. This is not exactly the true one, but the point is the same, that the ammunition in where the rockets sit, right, where they are, this is where a person sits. Kein Problem, ich habe done. Oh, hey. But this is where this is where the person sits who controls the turret, right? And most of the crew sits around here, but the ammunition storage in where, people are is right underneath the foot of them. So when it gets blown up, when you hit anything, just at the turret here, right here in the middle of the tanks, which is, by the way, the most weakest point of a tank is underneath the turret. Where have the Russians placed their ammunitions? Underneath the turret. That's the reason why the turret goes up in the air. Now, in a Bradley or anything else, not a Bradley, an Abrams or a Challenger or a Leopard, not only is the armor thicker, however, they've extended the area of their turrets so that you can't really fly anything in between it. You've also done a clever thing in which they've put the fucking ammunition in the back. You put the ammunition in the back, and the ammunition is protected by a wall, and if that ammunition goes off, chances are, well, you could die. The chances of you dying, sure, there is a chance, but there's a chance of it actually being stopped because the wall in between. And also, the area where the ammunition are is one of the most protected area, because that's, they realize, the Germans and the Americans and the British realize, well, if you destroy a fucking turret, right? If you destroy a tank, and that, the ammunition is underneath the turret, where the persons are sitting, where the driver is sitting, well, then you're gonna fucking fuck up everybody. What is the chances of surviving? Well, there is, right? But yeah, that's the problem for you right there. So I want to share something. Instead of 1,000 words, this is Simon the cat. A part of the muzzle was cut off by a missile piece, but Simon's healed. He is in Kyiv and he's looking for a home. War kills and injures, but there are still good people who keep the rescuing and defending. So this is in Ukraine right here, and this cat right here who got injured by a piece of shrapnel. He's looking for a home, and he is willing to be a nice little cat for you. So I thought I'd share it for people who are looking for a cat. If you want to adopt a cat in Ukraine, but. If you knew anybody, if you had anybody, if you knew anybody, or anything else like that, or just anything, just want anything, if Ukrainian saw this or anybody. So this guy's looking here. He's looking for a home, and if you have a home, and if there's a chances for you actually doing it, I don't know. Listen, I don't know if you could find him, but I hope he gets a home. But just wanted to share it. A Samad rally in Moscow. Vehicles carrying Samad missiles with riding to Washington arrived to Moscow from 7 other cities, including temporarily occupied Sevastopol, to drive through the city streets. 2 Samad mobiles are called in Russia, broke down along the way and didn't make it to the rally. So they tried to get a military truck, and they tried to get trucks to, it's a vehicle to the rally, but that one vehicle they had to get to the rally. You can ship animals, well? Yeah, I think you can ship animals, can't you? I mean, I hope you can. I hope you can. So this right here is the nuclear missile. It's a nuclear missile. It's an intercontinental missile. It's called the Samet missile. Putin, they did conduct some tests, and they've done it. And what they wrote right there to Washington, this is obviously propaganda. They've been driving it through the cities. Putin has recently conducted a nuclear sort of testing and all that stuff. So it's, yeah, is it for real now? I don't know, but it's certainly you know, such a ridiculous notion. Putin and Russian military is waking up today knowing Ukraine jets can get closer enough to occupy Crimea to fire cruise missiles at a Kerch harbor next to the Russian Crimea bridge and hit it. One of Russia's most modern cruise missile launchers, the adsb, who I talked about earlier, which was launched in September 2021, which said it has only been operating for 2 years. Ukraine's control of the Black Sea west of Crimea is a major strategic success which deserves more credit. So without any modern weapons, without any modern fighter jets, well, they have modern fighter jets, they're just not as modern as what an F-16 would be. They've somehow, in many ways, they're controlling the skies over in Crimea, or at least they're doing what they can to destroy the fuck out of them in Crimea. So that's something I think is it's pretty cool. I love it. Defense Minister to investigate award ceremony incident. Defense Minister Rusman Umerov called on the Minister of Defense to conduct a full investigation into a award ceremony held at the front lines. So apparently a award ceremony was held at the front lines of Ukraine. Now I'm thinking of some kind of Medal of Honor or something, but apparently it wasn't sanctioned by any officials, or some kind of misinformation happened or something that led them to believe it was a true ceremony or something like that. But apparently something happened there. I'm not aware of it. Honest to God, I don't really think I give a shit about it. I don't think I could give so much about it to actually research it, because, you know, it's like one of those corrupt or some kind of things. You know, it's like, you know. Ukraine is one step away from meeting the IMF structural benchmark on corrupt governments reform on the gas transmission system operate of Ukraine. So I won't discount the factor of the corruption that's been going on in Ukraine. I've talked about it before. There are still some rapid corruption, and we can't get rid of it. I mean, we can get rid of it. It takes some time because, well, Zelensky, he's done a lot for the anti-corruption campaigns, and he's done a lot for anti-corruption throughout the war. You know, the corruption has lessened by many percent. Not sure how many, but it's definitely many. And I think that's a positive note right there for a new future of Ukraine. However, you also have to point out that, well, it is still a massive problem that Ukraine still has to handle. There's still a lot of corrupt officials. There are some corrupt, military officials, some corrupt commanders who've been fucking up some things, who have been taking money. There are still some of the people who are used to the old ways of how Ukraine was won. Used back in the day, Ukraine was pretty much run by everybody else that wasn't Ukrainian. They were run by Russians. They were run by corrupt government officials. They were run by blah, 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 everything, right? And, well, yeah. I think that's a true point. I think that's a really true point. But that's certainly what Zelensky's trying to change. They're all trying to change it, but some things still can't be changed. It takes years to change such a massive event that's been occurring in Ukraine for such a long time. But, you know, whatever. It happens. Better than Russia, obviously. The Russian authorities test digital voting to falsify results in favor of Putin. So digital voting will be introduced, I think, in Russia here for the next election, and I do use quotation sign when I say election. I don't think it's going to be an election in that sort of sense. I think it's going to be more of a oh my god.
Rejs med midttrafik og få mere ud af turen.
I think it's going to be more of a... Oh, look at that. That is interesting right there. We got an Australian military... We got an Australian military, mate. Some Australian military AVAC system up right now. What is it doing there? I've never seen the Australian AVAC system in Poland. Never. Have you seen that? Have you ever seen that? What are you doing? You got a United States military Gulfstream 5 just apparently decided to turn around. Holy shit, that was a big explosion right there. What are you guys doing? What's happening? Why did these guys just turn around all of a sudden? Look at that guy. He just... Maybe... Did he land or did he just decide to turn around? What the hell? By the way, why is Europe so quiet on the military plane scene right now? It usually isn't... Well, it's 1 o'clock, but it's... I've never seen the Australian military AVAC system. I've never seen that before. That is interesting. You don't bring out the Australian, they usually bring out a... I mean, they usually bring out the E3 if they're gonna do some things like that. What the hell? There's a Russian plane in Saudi Arabia right now. Over. There's some Russian plane activity, nothing. There's some planes that are moving north. That's one thing. But nothing really other than that. Alright. Well, let's get to that. The next generation does not think, so it's ready to continue serving and dying for its dictator. Here's the brainwashing effect of the new generation of Russia right here for you. Here it is. So take a look at what he says.
Февраля 2022 года на Украине при исполнении воинских обязанностей.
Do you have siblings?
Младше. Пять.
Где-то в московском училище учишься?
Да, в президентском училище.
Тебе нравится? Да. Не с тобой еще.
I'll talk to you one time. I like you. I like you. You're putting like, I like you. Listen, buddy. I like you, okay? You say all the right things, okay? We'll have a talk sometime, okay? I'll see you sometime. You sure you're not gonna be dead by then? No. Hey, buddy, I live forever. Okay, so I'll see you. Okay, you sit in my office one day. I'll see you. I'll see you. Yeah. Russian defense minister has announced the successful test of the Bulava intercontinental ballistic missile capable of carrying nuclear warhead. The Russian military agency says the Emperor Alexander III's strategic cruise has successfully launched the Bulava sea-based intercontinental missile from the White Sea. It's called the White Sea. The report says that firing of the ballistic missile is a final stage of testing and the cruise should be accepted into the service of the Russian Navy. It is a Russian cruise missile that is so its official statement is that it's a intercontinental ballistic missile capable of carrying, but it's a cruise missile apparently. I don't know, or is it? I don't know. Might be ballistic missile, so I think it's a conventional missile. Oh yeah, it's a conventional missile, yeah. So that's an intercontinental missile right there, capable of carrying a nuclear warhead that was tested in Russia today. And, well, they say that they expect it, so they say right there that the testing crew, the crews should not be accepted into the service of the Russian Navy. So they're saying that the cruise missiles now could be accepted into the Russian Navy. The Jordan King tonight, our Air Force will be able to airdrop urgent medical aid to the Jordanian field hospital in Gaza. That is something else, isn't it? If you come here, I will need 24 minutes. Yes, 24 minutes, not more. Yes.
Nå, så afbryder El Diablo der lige med en reklame, hva'?
YouTube, it's a lot. It's a lot now, okay? 24 minutes to explain to President Trump that he can manage the war. The Ukrainian leader said doing an interview with the NBC News on November 5th. So, yeah. On November 5th, 2023, an Ohio-class submarine arrived in Central Command Area of Responsibility. Oh, like there. Ohio-class submarine arrived in the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility. That is something right there. That is something. Russia is actively working to bolster its military presence in eastern Libya with the intention to potentially establish a naval base there. More explosions just heard there. Thereby securing a substantial foothold in close proximity to southern Europe, according to Bloomberg, that a defense agreement currently under negotiation between Russian President Putin and Liberian Eastern military leader Khalifa Haftar. These discussions took place during the meeting in Moscow in late September. The sources provide this information of the question anonymity due to the sensitivity nature of the topic. Odessa, holy shit, a lot of explosion in Ukraine right now. Sorry, Ukraine. Sorry, I forgot. Gaza. Odessa downtown, Russia, burn in hell. Oh, you say that twice. So here we have it. This is a massive hole right here. Now these are not only one of the facts, but this right here, right, is in Odessa. Now I hate the factor, just this hole is so massive. It looks like some kind of massive rocket hit it. But I hate the factor that's in Odessa, because that means that the Russians have moved from using, well, the usual kind, the fucking drones, to using these massive, or maybe cruise missiles to launch towards Odessa. And what happens if a cruise missile misses Odessa? What happens if a cruise missile misses Odessa and hits Romania? That's when things get fucking serious. Because think about it. If they try to take out a naval base with cruise missiles and that cruise missile misses by a fucking inch or something like that midair, it directs itself, it malfunctions, hits fucking Romania. That's some fucking serious shit right there. And then we've got a fucking, then we're probably going to talk about war. I don't know, but we're probably going to talk about some kind of repercussions from that, you know? Ukraine army forces exhausted Russian advancing on Melitopol and Bakhmut fronts, General Staff reports. More responses from the Russians trying to push at the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians resisted and have held the line even under such conditions. American M1150 armored mine-clearing vehicles on the chassis of the Abrams tank have been spotted in Ukraine. They have a powerful mine travel, as well as two LIC remote minefield detonation systems. So these right here are powerful things. You got the Abrams tanks right there for you. And you've got the mine-clearing elements over it. That is one hell of a beast right there. If I ever seen something, that is the modern technology there for you. Look at that thing right there. That right there is going to hurt the ground, and it's going to hurt the Russian mines that have been put there. It will take out a mine, that's for sure. And will also take out the Russians, so try to get in front of it. We are almost through here. The commander of the Air Force, the Ukrainian Air Force, Nikolai Olenchuk, has confirmed the successful destruction of the Russian ship Ashkolt in Kerch. So I want to give you that as well, just so we know. This is a memorial in Kharkiv that was opened recently for children killed because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. People keep bringing toys and candles. Paper sign says Russia murdered them. Look at that. Look at it. So just want to show you the picture right here. Look at such a beautiful statue as well. Really a beautiful statue. Children statue. It's just a sad statue. It really is. But look at the ground as well. I'd say that one right there is certainly a look at that right there. That is really, really something. I'm look at the amount of teddy bears that's been put there. It's certainly something. I mean, it's sort of spirit of the Ukrainians there, and well, that's certain. That picture right there is so detailed and so beautiful right there. It's really, really amazing statue. Loved seeing it. It's in the area now, by the way. So yeah. A video of the destroyed S-300 anti-aircraft system missile in the area of temporarily occupied Bryansk appeared on the internet under recording. Probably the Russo pig occupier, who may have been representative of the occupying new law enforcement agency, claimed that the S-400 was destroyed by Ukrainian troops during their movement. So here you have it. This is a S-300 system. Alright, take care, Freddy. Good night. It's the S-300 system that got completely fucking wasted.
СС-300 установка, на ходу въебали. Вот оттуда она ехала. И вот там, видишь, асфальт побитый.
It's a new Russian law enforcement.
Запчасть валяется. Вон она. Вот асфальт осколками побитый, выжжен, сгорел.
This video is gonna give Putin a headache.
Они додумались наши.
Oh, my precious 300.
Цветочки там положили, потому что погибшие есть.
You can definitely see the barrels. Look at the barrels. You can definitely see it's that. It very much looks like it. Look at the barrels as well. Has that sort of shape right there for you.
В общем, точкой У сбили.
Impressive.
Навели.
Very good. Well done, Ukraine. Well done, Ukraine. You know, well done. I love it. Absolutely. Love it. Love seeing it. In Kyiv, the Soviet star was removed from the momentum of the Halishka Square. Look at that. That right there. So this one right here, right, it's a huge momentum for the Soviets. Or they had that Soviet star on top. I imagine they're going to replace it with a Ukrainian symbol. I'd like to see that. I don't know if they're gonna, but I'd like to see that. Ukrainian military command says Ukraine destroyed crucial Russian electronic countermeasure. Apparently it's this one right here, and I love seeing that because this is the ones we want to see get destroyed. Sorry. So, moving on to some EU news here. The Anne Frank daycare center in small town of Tangahute is soon to be renamed Weltendeka. This wish to remove the name of Anne Frank came from the parents, say the head of the daycare center. Parents with an immigrant, of course, backgrounds are said to know what to make of the name, and the daycare center advisory board is determined to implement the plans. So a history of a person of a country that you've moved to, you then decide to change that name because obviously it offends you. because she was Jewish. So a history of such a famous person as Anna Frank can't even be left alone. She can't, because the name offends you. You can't tolerate going to a place that's called Anna Frank because she was Jewish. It's so famous of a fucking Jewish, you know, famous story, a hero to many Jewish people, and that's why they changed it. You know, it's fucking ridiculous. And why the fuck did the EU board go? Why did the German board go with that? You know, they can't just change things just because people don't like it. Have some fucking backbone, okay? Have some fucking backbone once in a while and stand up to these people, because you're not gonna make anything change if you never stand for it, okay? Well, you're just giving them away. You're just giving them exactly what they want. Exactly what they want. It's ridiculous. It is a true momentum to a true sort of, I mean, a hero, but, well, I'd say hero, to a person who, well, inspired a lot. Yeah. It's absolutely horrendous to me. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. But that's just my point of view. I'm gonna find something else for you here, because there is a... Oh, there we have it. Forgot to give you this. So, 990 troops, 14 APVs, 13 vehicles and fuel tanks, 8 tanks, 12 artillery systems, 6 MRS, 3 cruise missiles, 1 anti-aircraft system, and maybe 1 boat tomorrow, and 9 special equipment. A lot of troops today, almost 1,000 troops in one day. That is a hell of a line storm right there for you. Overall, the Ukrainians are holding, but it is a struggle. I won't hide that. But yeah. Let's see. Let's see if Flash has something for us. He does not. He does not. Okay, so he doesn't have his usual updates. That is fine. It's fine. I think we'll go into watch Zelensky then. His latest talk. 7 hours ago here.
Щодо російського удару, дорогі українці, українки, передусім щодо російського удару по воїнам 128-ї гірсько-штурмової бригади, який стався у Запорізькій області. Мої співчуття усім рідним, близьким, загиблих воїнів. Це трагедія, якою можна було уникнути. Міністр оборони Умєров доповів мені про заходи, які вжиті, щоб з'ясувати усі обставини того, що сталося. Хто конкретно і які розпорядження давав. За фактом трагедії було зареєстровано також кримінальне провадження, триває відповідне розслідування. Головне встановити повну правду про те, що сталося, і більше не допустити подібного. Кожен військовий у зоні бойових дій, у зоні дострілу та аеророзвідки ворога знає, як треба поводитись під відкритим небом, як дбати про безпеку. Зараз розслідування має дати рідним загиблих воїнів та суспільству чесні відповіді, як сталася трагедія і чи розпорядження були неправильні. Друге, про що хотілося б сказати сьогодні, коли ми проходимо такі тижні, такі як цей, сповнені болю та непростих дискусій, важливо, щоб люди розуміли те, що в них на серці бачать, і зміни, які потрібні, будуть зроблені. Це стосується багатьох речей, від недбалості, яка буває, до радянщини та жахливої бюрократії, які не дають Україні, не дають багатьом нашим силах оборони реалізувати свій потенціал правильно, ефективно. Ми маємо захистити Україну, і ми захистимо, я в цьому не сумніваюся. Вірити в Україну – це знати, що Україна і українці можуть зберегти незалежність. Збережуть, повернуть своє. Але так само, як і після 24 лютого, це можна зробити разом і тільки разом. У єдності, дбаючи про державу, про тих, хто поруч з тобою, про українців, де б вони не були, зберегти єдність народу найважливіше. Я вдячний усім, хто докладає своїх зусиль заради цього. Ще одне. Авдіївка, Мар'їнка, Лиман, Бахмут, Куп'янськ, Мелітопольський напрямок, Херсонщина, артилеристи 55-ї бригади Запорізька Січ, 95-та окрема десантно-штурмова бригада, 68-та окрема єгерська бригада, 79-та КШВ, 30-та і 31-та окремі механізовані бригади, наша потужна 54-та окрема механізована бригада, 57-та окрема мотопіхотна бригада, 82-та окрема десантно-штурмова бригада. Я дякую всім вам, воїни, хто б'ється заради України, хто вірить в Україну. Я дякую всім командирам, які дійсно дбають про людей. І дякую всім, хто працює заради України та хто у світі допомагає Україні. Кожен тиждень має робити Україну сильніше. Це обов'язково. І це спільне завдання усіх в державі. Усіх. Слава Україні!
There you have it. That's Zelensky, the man, talking about it, talking about everything he knows. Love that man. Shout out. Don't think he needs a shout out. I think people know who he is. The U.S. military announces a Ohio-class nuclear-powered submarine has arrived in the Middle East. That's, yeah. Zelensky has decided to hold presidential election on March 31st, 2024. People's Deputy Olinsky Hanakarnunchuk. So there you have it. There is going to be a election. Sorry, not selection. Well, I guess they're going to be selecting, but, you know. But that is true, and that is happening.
Of holding of a 9-month of around 7 came up killed. Will not hold.
I think we'll watch this one right here. It's comes from the Israel Defense Force.
Months old baby hostage. Today
marks or something else.
30 days of holding of a 9 months old baby hostage. Kfir Bivas. My young boy just turned a year a couple of days ago. We're gonna defeat Hamas. We're gonna free our hostages. 240. Some of them are from all over around the world. We're gonna free our hostages. It's a top priority. And we are dealing with a murderous organization that did a massacre on the 7th of October. We will not forget the
Hey, buddy. Hey, camera's up here, buddy. Hey, come on. Come on. You know, usually they put the prompter, if he's reading off a prompter, above the camera. I don't know what he's doing here,
massacre.
But, you know, whatever.
I hope the world will not forget the massacre of the 7th of October. We came up in the morning, waking up, and babies were killed in their beds. And young women were burnt alive in a music festival. We will not let the world forget that. And we will not let the world forget Kfir Bivas, a baby after 30 days being held in Gaza. It's unimaginable. It's a crime against humanity. It's a war we did not start and did not seek. And now we're fighting. We're fighting to defeat Hamas, to free our hostages, and to free Gaza from Hamas.
Listen, he's not wrong. He's doing a great speech right there, but
today,
I wish they'd figured out that prompter thing there, because usually you put the prompter above your fucking, you know, head, above the camera, but it doesn't matter. This is something I'm pointing out here. Oh, look at that. The IDF has released a new video here. Let's watch this. Pretty cool. That's the latest releases from the IDF right there. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, you remember I showed you that picture earlier of a rocket hitting the ground? I think I got a video from it. Look at this. Yeah, that's definitely the video. Seems like it kind of has the same area. Maybe, I don't know. Does it? Maybe a little bit. Certainly seems like an area that could be, but it certainly was a big rocket right there. I think they're lagging. I would say that the Ukrainians have lacked the air defense there. I don't know if it's presence most in Odessa. That could be, but I mean, if you fire enough rockets, no matter how many air defense systems you put up, it's not gonna stop them from coming in. You know, it's not gonna stop it from coming in. So, this is something I've been talking about for a while here. So, check this out here. I've been talking about this AN-124 and these Russian cargo planes that's been going back and forward from Russia to Kaliningrad. You know, these massive, massive planes. I mean, there's 15 AN-125 and 13 Lysian 76 flights, which are both cargo planes. The AN-124 is the biggest cargo plane in the world, and they're bringing it back and forward from Kaliningrad. Now, is it to transport things from Kaliningrad to the Ukraine war, or is it to move in things from Kaliningrad? There have been talks about it possibly could be some S-400 systems, which the Russians are lacking of, that could be posted in Kaliningrad, in Ukraine, that they're now saying, you know, this where it could be where what they wanted to push in there, but I don't know. I really don't know. There's a proof that says, there's a quote that says, "The sky's the limit." However, Ukrainian engineer forces found their way to the sky. Oh, look at that. Sorry. But that must be some kind of bridge system. Right? Look at that. It's a truck system with a bridge system to kind of cross sort of a quarry right there or something. Fast access systems. I don't know if it's Ukrainians or Western to it, but I don't know. Alright, see if anything from Trey Inkst. See if anything. Sometimes he's got... Oh, hello. A lot of explosions still. Last he reported was 5 hours ago. I hope he's alright. Probably sleeping. Maybe. Anything else? Don't think there's much else for you right now. I think that's it. Overall lying argument for what's happening. Ukraine's holding. They have problems. There are some things that we need to figure out. Certainly the West needs to get off their ass and continue to send the weapons. We need that F-16s in Ukraine. However, they are still holding. Some weird activity of plane activity here over Europe today. An AVAC system from Australia is in over Poland. Never seen that before, but guess so if it was in the area. Don't know why it would be, but whatever. A lot of equipment still going into. That was a weird laugh right there. That was a kind of thing. Sorry about that. But yeah, dude.
Nå, så afbryder El Diablo der lige med en reklame, hva'?
Do you think you're cool or something like that? Like, what the fuck is your point? Why? But Israel has slowed their advance. Some reports are saying there could be a second phase here on Tuesday. I can't confirm it. I haven't really got anybody else saying it, but anything could happen. Some Swedish media pretty said, but Hezbollah announces that Hassan Nasrallah speaks next Saturday, 3 p.m. local time. I can't wait to not see that, because the last time they fucking anticipated a speech, right? I said to everyone, you know what I said? You know what I said? I said, it's going to be a useless speech. There's going to be nothing about it. Was I right or was I not? It was a verbal escalation, but nothing else. Russia strikes Odessa's damage Odessa art. Goddamn. What the fuck is... I like how Twitter readers added context they thought people might want. No amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot, Mark Twain. And then, Mark Twain never said this. Do you find this helpful? No, because Mark Twain did say that. It's just people didn't know fucking... He didn't say it like that. He said no matter what you do, you can't prove a dumbass wrong. And again, he didn't say dumbass, but he said something like that. Because they will try to prove you wrong because they were committed to a lie. Something like that. He didn't actually say that, but he did say something like it. Of course, he didn't say it directly like that. Then people on Twitter are like, he actually never said that, and that's actually misinformation. So, like, yeah. Like, some Twitter, like this like Twitter thing is trying to make their app better. I think it's cool, but, yeah, it's like, dude, we fucking get it. You know, but it's, like, it's not gonna harm anybody. You know, it's like... But he did actually say a variety of that, you know? But yeah, listen guys, I am gonna get out of here today. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching. Maybe we didn't, I mean, I hope I got through a good bit of it. Talked about it. Well, we mostly just show videos and what's some, you know, biggest headline and whatever. But let's have a good time. See you. Oh, sorry. Let you have a good time. Is what I'm trying to say. See you next.